Oh, yes, here we go. Is everybody there? Are you bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, awake and ready? Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to the December 22nd edition of Sundays with George Grant. I'm he. And it's a so-so morning this morning. No rain, but it's sort of quasi-overcast, semi-overcast. But certainly hope it's just as nice where you are, because I say this is nice. We don't have to worry about rain this morning, well, at least not yet. Don't have to worry about snow, so hey, got a lot to be thankful for. It's 9:01 here, which means it's about 8:01 in New York and Toronto, Montreal, places like that. And yeah, you guys are just lagging behind us. But I'm still so happy to see that. Look, hey, we already have a couple of folks here this morning. Anthea takes the prize this morning on this Sunday morning. She's up early on a Sunday morning. Anthea, hope it's not too cold out there in Georgia. And Anthony is saying good morning to everyone. I saw Anthony on Facebook this morning being thankful. This guy is always thankful. And he should be an example for us. He's enjoying life. He's had his challenges, but he's enjoying life, just like I am. Arthur Langine is saying good morning, and he likes my shirt this morning. It's my my golf shirt. I'm in red this morning. Maybe it's the season, I don't know. But and I'm not a big fan of red, by the way. I'm not. But that's what I grabbed this morning. Jose Franco will say, excuse me, John Franco. John is saying good morning to you folks this morning. And Dennis Perkins says it's bright and chilly here in London, Dennis and Christine. Nice to see you guys. Dennis, I guess you're settling in for the long haul. Yeah. Where are we now? Just approaching the end of December and January, February, March. Eh? Got a way to go. Let's see here. John Franco says, yesterday I found out I am my granddaughter's best friend. What a Christmas present. Hey, John, old enough to have grandkids? Hey? Well, congratulations. Nice to know that your grandkids love you. And Bernard Gilbert is saying good morning. So is Kathleen and Oswin and Martin Carmichael, Simon. Yaman. I'm glad that you guys are awake. Be thankful. Be thankful. So, we got 3 hours ahead of us. What are we going to do? Well, let's take a look at the rundown here. First of all, we've got the buzz, where we read you a passage from the Holy Scriptures. And Yaman, little angel's with us this morning. She sent her piece last night. And then we have the editorials. Actually, I should say editorial, because I guess it's the holiday season and the Grenada Advocate. I don't think they published last week, did they? Anyhow, recently they missed 1 or 2 editions as well, so I guess they're taking some time off. However, we do have the editorial from the New Today, which is captioned, "The Fabian Purcell Suspension." That's another can of worms that just opened up here in Grenada. Yeah, another can of worms. We'll share that with you in just a wee bit, okay? Now, as far as features are concerned, I've got somebody coming in here this morning, should be here at about 9:45 or so. And the way I put it here on the rundown is a matter of plagiarism. You know, folks, not just in Grenada, but around the world, I think kids are going through a real tough time. We're very critical of the kids because of some of the crazy stuff they do. And yeah, their way of thinking is probably not aligned to our way of thinking. They've got different values, but stop and think about it. You know, when we were kids, Mom and Dad were saying the same thing about us, weren't they? There are some people who are prepared to just sit back and point fingers at these kids. But thankfully, there are others who decide, you know what, I'm going to do something to help these kids. Give them better values, a little bit more self-esteem. And there's a gentleman by the name of Melvaughn Coutain, who's coming in here this morning. And he's going to tell us about a project called the Olive Branch, which was intended to do just that, you know, give the kids something worthwhile to do. And they developed a project which they had an extremely difficult time trying to get going. And then lo and behold, he sees that same project showing up somewhere else. So I'm going to leave it right there by simply asking you, is this a matter of plagiarism? I have invited him to come sit here with me this morning and tell the story, because it's not the first time that we're hearing about such stories where you try to get permission or support to do something. Nah. Turn your eyes the other way. Somebody else doing it. All right. Our next feature is captioned, Peter Andall explains why he closed his supermarkets. On Friday afternoon, Mr. Andall held a press conference up at the parade just up the street here to explain what's been going on as far as Andall and Associates are concerned. And he told his story. Now, this was on Friday afternoon. The press conference started, I guess, a little after 4 o'clock and went on to just before 5 o'clock. And he laid it bare. We're going to show you that this morning. In all fairness, and remember, this was Friday afternoon, in all fairness, he made some claims about the treatment from the Ministry of Finance, and I would really, really love to hear their side of the story. Okay. But unfortunately, like I mentioned to you, it was Friday afternoon, late on Friday afternoon. You know that after 3 o'clock, they don't even answer the phone down at government offices. So you can bet your bottom buck that tomorrow, first thing, I'm going to be out there trying to get a comment from the Ministry of Finance. Not just a comment. What I'd like to do is send them a copy of the video that you are about to watch. And once we've done that, I would like them to react to that. Should I be lucky enough to get a response, I will then present you with that sometime during the course of the week. Peter Andall, by the way, is the owner of Andall and Associates. So that's our second feature this morning. Then, On Thursday morning, we had another session, another session with Mr. Allan Bierzynski. And it was his last for the year. And as usual, Allan took off, man. This guy took off. And I've titled it here, AB's Year-End Shindig. His last contribution for the year. So we're going to bring that to you this morning. And then I think I've saved probably the most interesting one for last. It is captioned, Claudette Joseph will not be intimidated. What's that about? You have heard that Ms. Joseph is currently facing possibility of a lawsuit from the Prime Minister. A suit has not been filed, but she's facing the possibility of a lawsuit. And the Prime Minister is asking something like $350,000 from her. Well, she had been given 7 days to respond to that. And this week, excuse me, not this week, but this past week, today's the start of a new week, right? So this past week, she and her attorney, Mr. Cajeton Hood, held a press conference. That I captured as well. And we're going to be sharing that with you this morning. Pilgrims, a lot was said during that press conference. A lot. So get your coffee, get your coconut water, get your cocoa tea, whatever, and sit down and get comfortable. Because as you can see, we have quite the morning lined up for you. All right? Let me get back here to social media for just a wee bit. Scroll back because you guys have been pumping in stuff. Kipling is sending his blessings. Alana Morris Fantasso. Hey, we haven't seen you for a little while, Alana. Thank you very much for coming back. Margaret Francis is saying happy Sunday to you guys. Claude Putnam. Good morning to you, Mr. Grand, and Merry Sunday, and Merry Sunday to you too, Claude. Merry Sunday to Ola, he says. Erica Mitchell saying good morning. Have a Merry Christmas, everybody. Remember the reason for the season. Yeah. Sadly, my dear Erica, a lot of people don't even think about the reason for the season. It's just a time of festivities. Oh, by the way, last night, I don't know how well attended it was, but last night there was another edition of Festival of the Lights. I think it's the fourth one they've had over the past couple of weeks. Down on the Carnage, fireworks. Fireworks, so, not the kind of thing you're likely to see on New Year's Eve. But nevertheless, they did have fireworks. And the perimeter of the Carnage has been really nicely lit up from where I am up here on Willits Road. You will look down, pretty nice sight. And a lot of people seem to have appreciated that, judging by the number of pictures I've seen on Facebook. A lot of people did capture some really, really nice images. They also had these spotlights going up and shining on the clouds and everything. Yeah. So, John, hello. John is saying good morning. GG in class on winter solstice. Yes, John. How are you this morning, sir? Hope you're getting back to normal. Sonia Mathrin Scott is saying that she is watching and listening, and George Mason is asking everybody to have a blessed Christmas. Said the same to you, sir. Chester Simon is, it's raining, it's pouring, his love life is boring. I didn't say that, Chester, but he's out there in Zurich, Switzerland. Ryan Jaban says 66 degrees Fahrenheit and gray and rainy up here. Well, I don't know if it started raining here yet, but it's kind of cloudy out there. Anthea Rello says, fingers crossed, George. Would be nice to hear their side. Hope Mr. Andall was not forced to put out his statement. Anthea, I have, since that media conference, I've heard some issues being raised about the accuracy of his statements. I don't know. That's why I want to hear directly from the Ministry of Finance, okay? So I'm going to go after them on Monday, and you're right, my girl. Fingers crossed. I don't think the man was forced to put out this, that's only speculation, but I have no reason to believe that he was forced to put out a statement. What is interesting is that in not yesterday, but Friday's edition of the New Today, I saw that apparently there was speculation that Andall and Associates could be reopened before the end of the year. Well, I saw that in a copy of the New Today on Friday, just as I was waiting to go into the press conference. In the press conference, as you will see shortly, doesn't look like there's any hope of that happening. Wait and hear what's said during the press conference. Okay, let me see. Fitzroy Adams is saying good morning, and Dave Bertrand is asking us to have a blessed Sunday. Thank you, sir. Kathy Roberts saying the same thing. Madame Toussaint Green, say good morning to you guys. And our friend Jackie O out there in Washington. Hello, Jackie O. She's saying good morning. It is a warmer 28 degrees this morning. 28 degrees warmer. Yeah, Jackie O. You know, here it's probably about 28 Celsius. But I guess since you're in Washington, you're probably talking 28 degrees Fahrenheit. Ryan Jaban says, block party on the Carnage. I wouldn't describe it as a block party, but hey, you could hear a lot of singing from up here last night. And Peter Bishop is there. I don't think Peter has even said good morning to us, but he said good morning, Jackie O. Well, good morning to you too, Pedro. Oh yes, he has said good mornings from a cold Long Island. Yeah, man, it's winter. All right, pilgrims. There you have it. That's your rundown and our initial batch of good mornings on this, the 22nd day of December. Now let's take a quick little break, and we'll come back and get down to business.
GRENLEC continues to celebrate 25 years of partnership and growth. So this December, we're giving every customer the chance to spin and win. Just pay your bill in full on or before December 18th. Then, on Wednesday, December 18th, join us at any GRENLEC customer care location. Spin to win giveaways that will make this season even more festive. Hams, groceries, gift vouchers, wine, electricity vouchers, and more. Join the celebration. December 18th, spin and win with GRENLEC. Visit our website or Facebook page for more information. Terms and conditions apply.
Why wish upon a star? For a bank is better by far. Whatever you're wishing for this Christmas, we'll give you low interest and no fuss.
Co-op Bank is making Christmas wishes come true. Fix up your home, treat your loved ones, and get everything on your Christmas list this year with our no-fuss loans. As we count down the 12 days to Christmas, you can win awesome prizes every day. Special terms and conditions apply.
Christmas wishes come true with Co-op Bank and you.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Because your vehicle is a necessity, being roadworthy is critical. Hubbard's Motor Department introduces its new tire and battery sales and service outlet located at Building Supplies Compound in Grand Anse, close to the Sugar Mill Roundabout. Available are a wide range of competitively priced tires, maintenance-free batteries, oils and lubricants. Keeping in mind your busy schedule, this outlet is equipped to provide you with fast and reliable service. Simply drive in and you'll be delighted with your service experience. For more information, contact 440-2087. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Alrighty, folks, it's now moved on to 21 minutes after 9 o'clock. Let's now get right into this week's edition of The Buzz. And as always, we begin with a reading from the Holy Scriptures. Today, Matthew chapter 10, verses 26 to 31. So do not be afraid of them, for there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. What I tell you in the dark, speak in the daylight. What is whispered in your ear, proclaim from the roofs. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground outside your Father's care. And even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. So, don't be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. That reading, pilgrims, Matthew chapter 10, 26 to 31. Glancing back here. Clive Baker says, good morning, Uncle George, and good morning to Auntie Margaret. I didn't know Mags and I were related. And to all your listeners around the world, happy Sunday to you and Auntie Margaret. Jackie O is asking Ryan to send her some sunshine and warmer weather for the Christmas. Good luck. Pilgrims, received my weekly contribution from Little Angel last night, and I'm going to share that with you right now. Let me tell you something, eh? After I read this thing last night, I sent an email back to Little Angel saying, Little Angel, this is probably one of the shortest contributions I have received from you. But it was also probably the most powerful, in my humble opinion. What is Georgie talking about? Listen up. It's titled Leaders. A strong leader admits when wrong, but someone who insists on being strong when wrong admits failure. And that, by the way, is a quotation. This could be the first time that this statement is being made, but may very well describe a number of Caribbean leaders today. Admitting to being wrong is not a common practice among ministers of government and people in leadership positions, including prime ministers. Instead, They insist on making the wrong look right and the right look wrong, especially when fingers are pointing at them. Being relentless about wrongdoing is more than what it may appear to be, and could be a symptom of deep-seated failure. It is said that, quote, a good leader takes a little more than his share of the blame and a little less than his share of the credit, unquote. And according to Thomas Merton, humility makes us real. Leaders are born, not made, and no amount of efforts will change someone who is not a leader into being or becoming one. Grenadians who are in leadership positions must cease pretending to lead. And ordinary Grenadians need to cease pretending to be led. Little angel. I told you. Powerful stuff. Well, I see that we have been joined by the Vespres, Carlene and Bradley. Agatha Jordan is saying, happy Sunday to you, George, on this warm and windy Carriacou. Oh, Agatha, you just make me itch a little bit more to make another visit up to Carriacou. It's been a long time, but you know, they say nothing happens before it's time, eh? I really want to see you and John and Valerie and Kim and, ooh, yeah, got some really nice people up there. Aisha Wakeman is saying good morning to you as well. And I'm going to take another little break right now, and we will come on back with the editorial from the New Today. Hang in there.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this.
Where you get that?
At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in that food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
Why wish upon a star? For a bank is better by far. Whatever you're wishing for this Christmas will give you no interest and no fuss.
Co-op Bank is making Christmas wishes come true. Fix up your home, treat your loved ones, and get everything on your Christmas list this year with our no-fuss loans. As we count down the 12 days to Christmas, you can win awesome prizes every day. Special terms and conditions apply.
Christmas wishes come true with Core Bank and you.
Welcome home.
Christmas safety tips. Always unplug Christmas tree lights before leaving home or going to sleep. Check your tree lights and outdoor lights for damage each year before you use them. Discard lights with frayed wires, loose connections, and cracked sockets. Do not overload your wall outlets or extension cords. Remind children never to touch lights or outlets. Select lights appropriately. Never use indoor lights outside or vice versa. Happy holidays from GrenLec.
Alrighty, folks, our time's now moved on. 29 minutes away from 10 o'clock already. We're moving right along. Let's get to this week's only editorial. And usually we begin the editorial section with the Grenada Advocate, but like I mentioned, it looks like they're taking the holiday season off, so we don't have an editorial from them. By the way, Ryan was responding to Little Angel a little while ago. He says, yep, politicians are fickle and reactionaries and not transformational leaders. Okay, Ryan? We have since been joined by Roger Mitchell and Bob Marichaux and Joyce C. Smith. Good to see you all, folks. Now, here comes the new today. Here we go. It is captioned, the Fabian Purcell suspension. Who gave instructions to send senior civil servant Fabian Purcell home on suspension? Mr. Purcell, who was the acting head of the Physical Planning Unit, which falls under the Ministry of Finance, our Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Mitchell, told the New Today that he got the instructions via email on Tuesday from the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, who said that the order came from the Public Service Commission. However, one day later, this newspaper telephoned the head of the 5-member commission, Mr. Prescott Swan, to inquire of him whether this was true, and he informed us that the Purcell matter was not dealt with by the body at its weekly meeting on Monday. The New Today has every reason to believe that Mr. Swan was speaking the truth on the matter. Other checks made by us reveal that the Fabian Purcell matter was not on the agenda for last Monday's meeting of PSC members. It is also not unusual for the members of the commission to discuss and engage in a round-robin session among themselves on any matter of urgency involving the public service. We have credible information that there was no round-robin on the Purcell matter by the 5 members of the commission. So, it begs the question, if Mr. Purcell is to be believed on the source of the letter sent to him, then who issued the instructions to send them home? Did the PS and Finance really get the instructions from the PSC? And one might rightly ask, is there another PSC in operation, and one that is outside the scope of the body headed by Mr. Swan? The New Today finds it hard to believe that PS and Finance will send out a letter of suspension to Mr. Purcell as head of the PPU without cover from the PSC. It should be noted that the Commission is the only body in the country that is recognized by the Grenada Constitution to exercise control over all public officers in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. There is nothing illegal for the PSC, through the Chief Personnel Officer, to so write a permanent secretary and communicate a directive to send a public officer on holiday leave or suspension from the line of duty. But it is a different matter for a PS in any government ministry or department to take it on his or her own, and without the necessary authority, to issue any such instructions to a public officer, including one of seniority, like the head of physical planning. It should be noted that the Prime Minister of the country has direct control over the permanent secretaries and can transfer them at his own whims and fancies. We cannot lose sight of the facts that came out in the Gemma Bain Thomas and Commissioner Willen Thompson court matters involving the role of Prime Minister Mitchell in their demise as public officers. The New Today holds no brief for Mr. Purcell, but will not support any move by the powers that be to usurp the authority of the PSC and to send home public officers. Mr. Purcell has every right to seek legal advice on the email letter that he said was sent to him by the PS in Finance on his suspension. In addition, due process requires that the head of the PPU be given every opportunity to defend himself before the PSC against the serious allegations made against him about receiving money in the shrimp farm project. The New Today would like to inform Grenadians that the Fabian Purcell issue is a direct result of the recent Al Jazeera documentary on diplomatic passports for sale involving both Grenada and Dominica. The information about the wire transfer of the funds which Mr. Purcell admitted to receiving came to us directly from the undercover reporters from Al Jazeera, who did not focus on that in the documentary, which concentrated more or less on diplomatic passports. This newspaper can verify that it was able to benefit from the work of the undercover reporters, who also made available to us documents about the transfer of monies involving the failed shrimp farm project. We're currently working on information that a current member of the new National Party administration asked for 1 million EC dollars from the shrimp farm project for the 2018 general elections. The New Today cannot reveal the name at this moment, as the information provided to us is being checked and double-checked, since this is indeed a very serious allegation. It is the season of goodwill again, and the New Today joins in wishing all, especially our readers, advertisers, contributors, and supporters, the very best of wishes for Christmas 2019. There you have it, pilgrims. That's the editorial, which appeared in Friday's edition of the New Today. Okay, let me get back here. Ernesto says he overslept this morning, but now he's here. Aline Buddy Hosford is checking in from a cold New York, and let's see here. Lots of you out there who are incognito this morning. I see that Damien Val McLeod is there. Smolak Sylvan, John Pilgrim, Yvonne Joseph, Hazel Bierzynski. I wonder if that's not A.B. himself. A.B., if it is, I sure hope we're going to hear from you this morning. Nicole Gittins Kishinama. See, I remember that. It's Kishinama, not Kishinama. Quiche. Michael Alexander, Allison Tisha George, what's the Sherilyn Sunshine Hital, Simeon McVeigh, Roger Mitchell. Yeah, all of you folks are there this morning. All right. Well, my dear friends, our first guest has arrived. If you take a look, just a quick look. There he is. See him? There he is. All blue this morning. Smile, smile, smile. All right. That's Mr. Melvaughn Coutain. And Melvaughn's going to be joining us in just a wee bit. But let's take a break.
GRENLec continues to celebrate 25 years of partnership and growth. So this December, we're giving every customer the chance to spin and win. Just pay your bill in full on or before December 18th. Then, on Wednesday, December 18th, join us at any GRENLec customer care location. Spin to win giveaways that will make this season even more festive. Hams, groceries, gift vouchers, wine, electricity vouchers, and more. Join the celebration. December 18th, spin and win with GRENLec. Visit our website or Facebook page for more information. Terms and conditions apply.
Why wish upon a star? For a bank is better by far. Whatever you're wishing for this Christmas will give you low interest and no fuss.
Co-op Bank is making Christmas wishes come true. Fix up your home, treat your loved ones, and get everything on your Christmas list this year with our no-fuss loans. As we count down the 12 days to Christmas, you can win awesome prizes every day. Special terms and conditions apply.
Christmas wishes come true with Co-op Bank and you.
Welcome home.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Because your vehicle is a necessity, being roadworthy is critical. Hubbard's Motor Department introduces its new tire and battery sales and service outlet located at Building Supplies Compound in Grand Dance, close to the Sugar Mill Roundabout. Available are a wide range of competitively priced tires, maintenance-free batteries, oils and lubricants. Keeping in mind your busy schedule, this outlet is equipped to provide you with fast and reliable service. Simply drive in and you'll be delighted with your service experience. For more information, contact 440-2087. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Alrighty, folks, take a look. There we are on the set. Was it raining when you came in here?
No.
It wasn't raining, but it's cloudy out there.
Yes.
Yeah. This gentleman you're looking at here is a gentleman by the name of Mr. Melvaughn Coutain. He's been with us before in the past to talk about a project of his known as the Olive Branch. And in maybe a peripheral way, he's going to be talking about that again this morning. But first of all, I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself, for the people who may not know you.
Okay.
Let me hear you.
Okay. My name is Master Melvaughn Coutain. I'm a martial artist. I've been advocating for the last 20 years or more to get martial art within the community, within the schools in Grenada, to see how we can bring back discipline. I try my best to move away from the politics, keep myself active within the community, talking to young persons. I have my school, the Grenada School of Martial Art and Taekwondo, which I get support internationally, well recognized by some of the masters within the world, within the movie industry. And the whole thing is to see how we could get Grenada out there, get kids involved, and get the art form going. Yeah.
One of the things you mentioned right off the bat, you said you're trying to restore discipline.
Yes.
Big problem in this place today, isn't it?
It's a big problem.
Yeah.
Real big problem.
You work with kids.
Yes.
Tell me some of the problems you see facing these kids.
Okay, some of the problems as a child growing up in Grenada, Grenadian parentage, I grew up in Trinidad. Part of my life I grew up here. So I learned two systems. I just call myself a Caribbean person. I know what is discrimination. So what you find, like a single parents, you find is just the mother with the boys, and then you have the girls. The girl been taught to work. The boy child was never really taught. Everything was given to him. And you find this child grow up just that same way with the society what we live in right now with all this gadget and technology. He don't know to go out there and fend for himself. So therefore discipline breakdown. Then you're watching television, all you're seeing on television is murder, fights. So that in your mind, tell me from 1 year to 17 years of your life, like 17,000 murder you already see. So you find it's a breakdown in discipline. People dress anyhow. Nobody does sit properly. We used to go to school back in the days, as George, you know, back, you have to sit properly. You have to know when to cut in a conversation. You have to know how to chew your food. You chew your food 50 times. You understand? Now everything is chop and swallow. And do as you feel like. You look pretty. That is the whole thing. People was taught to be pretty, be nice, put on cologne. But the ending up of the day is a can of worm. It's a big can of worm there out here. So you find the school system is suffering. The teacher, if a teacher might be trying the best, but then you only watch on the opposite side, you see our next teacher with a tattoo, one with the earring in the nose, one wrong the system. That couldn't happen before. The same thing within the nursing, in the hospital. So all around, there's a breakdown in discipline in our society. And if you just trace back to Japan, when they had a tsunami, and also, I think was a hurricane, which them called typhoon, within a matter of hours, people was get up. No looting was taking place. Children was assisting, bringing water, helping the mom. The men go out, assisting in building. So you see, there's a disciplined society. And when you watch that society, is martial art within the school system. Just name it, right you. You understand? It's not just, sorry to say it, waiting for that Christ to come and save us, and we're not putting our business together. We need to put our business together, and we're going to get help.
You know, you mentioned the impact of media on these kids today.
Yes.
Once upon a time, it was just basically television, but now it's compounded because you have social media. And that, too, is causing a lot of ill discipline.
Who brings it in the home? The parent. And if you as a parent and you decide, watch, I don't want that in my home. The neighbor have it. The school have it. We've gone so far right now, think we're going to remove books and bring in electronic into the school. So the brain not allowed to really work and think as before. So you find everybody is in a program, everybody being controlled. You understand? And this is where we're headed. Okay? Our persons that I asked somebody a question earlier as an African person, where you put yourself, what number you give yourself, what is your worth? And he told me to ask him that question. I said yes. Because within the system, you find the elite system, what we come out from. They are first, the wife second, the children, the male child. Then you find the daughter, which is like 4. If you mix within the mixed race family, come down, and it come down. So you might be about 11 or 13. So you have all the set of elements and negativities. Serena Williams talk about it a lot. You have all of that to fight with. When you go there and you hear use number 1, like Miss Universe the other day, and you listen to questions and a comment, and you meet number 1 in the world, you work hard. Because that is number 1. You have to go through all these different races, these different barriers in order to reach there. And then for people to look up to you and say, wow. You understand? And this is what face our people, the kids and everything, this part of the world, especially in the Caribbean. Because we were brought here. And some of us don't believe something did happen with us, although we try to move away from it. But if you can rise out of that, we will always have the problem what we have, and we keep on covering it up, and it will just get worse with social media.
Ryan Jabon is listening to you in Orlando, Florida. He says, sadly, discipline is very deficient in Grenada today. Joyce E. Smith, I don't know where she is, but she says, well said. I agree with you. Wayne Francis says, we need more people like you, sir.
Thank you.
You are making a difference. And Jackie O says, yes, these millennials need to hear this. So people are listening to what you're saying, Melvaughn. All right?
Thanks.
Now, parents, you says it's the responsibility of the parents.
Yes.
But come on, Melvaughn, a lot of these parents were where these kids are today. A lot of these parents don't have
Thank you.
the upbringing. So how can they then impart it to their kids?
This is where I come in. This is why I create a program called the Olive Branch. Okay? This is why I introduce in martial art. Okay? Because most of the home don't have a dad. One of the problems you're having, if you don't have table manners, people don't want to be around you. They'll move around from you. If you have a bad odor, people don't want to be around you. So all these different things, somebody will come and use you because of the sweetness and what they could get from you. But then after you're left with a lot of baggage behind and they're gone. Okay? And it go from generation to generation. We call it generation. Well, who actually educated us? How much person in this country study sexuology? How much person look at nutrition as a serious? We look at nutrition and food. You talk about food and nutrition. But feeling and touching abstract. Okay? On the art. So what about love? Forgiveness? All these elements and hatred build up inside of you. And you decide not to conceive. And you bring forward that child into the world. That register here in the DNA. Now, if you don't have a system and program in place to change that mindset of that child and put him on the right path to achieve in life, and that is the first year we playing jab, drinking and whining, and that child, they're watching that, and then from you find 2 years pass, 3 years pass, 5 years reach, and you fail to deal with that child. The child reach 10 years, the mind develop. What you going to get? Jab continue. We continue going on. Women one side, men one side, and then we have investors coming in. So where are we really headed?
Haven't we started calling this place the Jab Nation nowadays?
Well, somebody was make an ambassador for it.
Yeah, exactly. Can you believe that?
And look on social media and see what is happening with all these set of groups and rights and all these set of things and empowerment of ladies, and look, watch what is selling out there.
Anthony de Riggs. You know Anthony?
No.
You know a guy named Christy Riggs?
Yes.
He brother.
Oh.
Anthony. Anthony's in New York. He says, this gentleman is right. Children are not allowed to think these days. Google has the ready-made answers.
Yeah.
That's true, eh?
Yes.
Even me Googling. Ernesto says, now Mr. Purcell in a position where he can give Grenadians a better understanding on the monies involved. Ernesto, please, let's keep this thing serious, huh? Jackie O says, I have a teenager in school. No textbooks. All students have a laptop and communicate with the teacher via Google Docs.
Wow.
Can you believe that? Huh?
They're in a program.
But I do make my child handwrite cards and letters to mail to people. These children cannot read and write. All they know is tweet and text.
Sure.
Big challenge, right?
Yes, sure.
And it's getting worse.
Yes.
But you know, the medium itself is not the issue. It's what we do with the medium.
Yeah, well, the media is not the issue. It boils down to education. It boils down to leadership. There's countries in the world, they put protection for the person. Everything that let go, we seems to just grab it. Even the common cold, everything that put out there, and a small population of 100 and something thousand, we seem to just embrace it. Nobody is saying, okay, watch, we small, take with time. You can't be in everything. You have, when you watch places like Pakistan or even Nigeria, talking about population of about 60 million people, 200, 100 and something million people, and they have it under control. It might be 100%, but they have it under control. You're talking about a population of 100,000. Okay? You can't control that. We can't fix some of the problem. 30% is young persons. When you send your child to school and you hear a child come back home and a child die, you understand? Or a child was impregnated in school or whatever. Did you ask what is happening? Because we have a lot of intelligent people here. We're just not using them. You know, there's a lot of teachers who retire and they have skills that they are there. You understand? What you find, people just bouncing head together.
All right, so let's get down to some business here now. You set out to try and impart discipline in our youth and everything that goes with it. Now, some time ago you came to tell me about a project you had called the Olive Branch Project.
Yeah.
And that's what this was all about, isn't it?
Yes, that is how it started.
Okay, so let's hear a bit about the Olive Branch Project.
Okay, the Olive Branch Project started, we've been trying for a while, and I come back home in 1990. And I work on the ground, within Cali, so pull people together, fix the well down there. Within the community, pulling people, working as you for years. And Christmas time, pull people together, hand out hampers and all this sort of stuff. But same problem watching young person, even within my home, watching my kids, watching what is happening around. I say, what could I could do, how I could impact some of the knowledge what I have and learn over the years with these kids. And I started with a martial arts school with a Grenadian from Donnie Migner in Canada. He wanted to come down here to do some work. He's one of the bodyguard for Beanie Man, Escort Service and all these things. He's really big in these things. I said, Donnie, Grenada is at East Melvaughn, just organize, I'll come down. And this is how I started in Vandam School with 10 young persons, talking to them, working to them. He did workshop, raise money within the community, sell barbecue by the side of the road, and there was no help from the government or anybody. Okay, and that is how we went on. And then from there, the moving up and down, it's passage, everything is, of course, things keep on rising. So at the time, it used to be down outside by the youth center. And this is how we write and this is how we get inside, we start working from there within the community. Meet with the Ministry of Education, present a proposal, and the proposal was we're willing to work with you with this, but you need to get X. And everything that was asking for, nobody didn't tell me. I had all these documents with me at the same time, just pulling it out and handing it. Okay? Within a month or two, it was approved. But when it approved, it come down with other names on it, who was not there with me. But nevertheless, it's for the betterment of the country. Now, what happened there and then, I continue working within the community. Sports, education, you try to get agriculture, and keep on writing letters. Tons of letters keep on going. One of the things was told to me, don't turn no child away if you're going into the school, whether a child have or not. I said, I already doing that. So telling me that it's nothing, because the child we don't have. This is the child might bring that gold medal to Grenada, and the child we might afford to pay, that child might just fall by the wayside. You understand? And we talk and we have and we work from there. And I continue working and pushing and ask. No assistant never really come. You go to tourism and you ask for help because there's persons, I have connection with martial arts movies with people like Silver Fox, Cynthia Rock, and all these people, Billy Banks. And I was trying to get them to come in to see they could come into the school to talk to raise this thing. And you go to the minister, she's sending you down to Tourism Authority. If I show the letter what I received from the lady, they can't help. Okay? So you continue working and continue doing stuff. So in sports right now, you don't know who to talk to because it has so many PS in one ministry, and you're asking, could you assign somebody to assist and advise us how we should go about, what we should do, what assistance could be given so we could get this program get 15 young persons within each parish, girls and boys, so we could train them to do a train the trainers workshop and see how we could get these young people to work with other persons. There's a team of persons out there willing to come in to assist with that. Nothing up to now. You're just going around in circles. So I come up with the idea, put together documents again, and this whole acrophonics within the school system, and you have now the SMART program and all these things now. I presented this. And I said, forget about money, we're going to find finance. And this is how this whole thing come up within the school system. And then from minister change, PS change, nobody engaging you. Nobody inviting no meeting, nobody writing you, not even a postcard. I show, if I check my email, I have a postcard from Norway, Texas, all these places congratulating me and thanking me for the work I'm doing in Grenada. Nothing, can't present a postcard from no ministry saying, a new minister coming up, PS coming, Mr. Coutain, I see you trying, how could we assist? You understand? So this is where I am. What faced me right now is there's a next organization, somebody say Melvaughn is an organization, or they doing the same thing as you. When I read the document, I say, same thing I'm trying to do. That is my program I present. Somebody take it right over our next program, present it, and when you listen, the whole budget and everything, what we read out and everything, it was out there. Nobody invite us. Simon Steele, I saw him the last time and I asked him, I said, all these things, nobody invite us in anything. I'm a citizen of this country. The government's supposed to be like a vehicle to take the people where they're supposed to go. Nobody not engaging us. So when you go around to do whatever you're supposed to do, you're hearing people saying it all come from on top, not to assist. You understand? Well, an incident happened last week, and as I was told legally to leave it there still because they'll be monitored and because the police get involved. But you have to face a thing like vandalism and theft and all these set of things. So I had to say, I am trying to do something from the country. And instead of people assisting you and advising you so you could go there and help and get more person involved to volunteer and do things and see how we could help the young person in this country, people becoming your enemies. So therefore, when you hear this thing on young people and you want to help young people and you hear a crime every week or 2 weeks, you hear some crime happening, I say, wow, that young man could have been saved. All this baccalaureate program and all these set of things. I have documents where they ask me to write these programs. You write it, nobody write back to you. But then you see, whatever you put, you see, it is being presented as somebody else's own. And this is the kind of battle I am going through. But nevertheless, there's persons outside here that come in on board, assisting, and they don't want to really be part of it. They want to do something for Grenada. They want to do something for a young person. They want to work with girls. You understand? And basically the year is closing. I'm asking people in the diaspora, Grenadians who are listening, we have a website, a donation website in place. There is a Facebook page on the Olive Branch. It could be looked at. Basically, kids, whether they have or not, as I tell you, I work with, I don't turn them. As long as they're willing, and they're willing to do something to change their life, I work with them, I talk to them, call the parents, talk to them. Even if we travel, whatever funding we make, however it is, we spend it back in the meals, in the hotels, because it's very expensive to travel. Nobody giving you anything. You understand? And it have nobody with a big heart like that out here as me, trying, because a lot trying and they give up. People question, but why it is you not? As I'm speaking here this morning, as I come here, I just come out in Melvaughn School up there. 6 o'clock I was up there this morning and walking on my feet because I don't have a vehicle. Going in there, seeing about the fishes, checking the plants, cleaning up. There's a garden we plant around there. They produce something, we're trying to sell it and use that to see how it can assist us. And all these grant funding and all these things was read out in the parliament, the $300 and something million, and it's for all Grenadians and all Grenadians will benefit. Nobody don't invite us. Nobody don't talk to us. That is my concern.
Shameful.
Yes.
There are people out there listening to you, and I should tell you off the bat that we have an audience of people who care.
Yeah.
And they're listening. Listen to some of the comments that have been coming in here. Ryan says, no self-control and self-discipline in our Grenada anymore. It's just egotism and opportunism. Wayne Francis says, it seems to me parents cannot strike a balance for their children anymore.
Yes.
Yeah? You agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, there's more. Joycey Smith says, this is a problem we have today, where we have black kids in London killing each other today.
Thank you. Yeah.
Today, knowing the struggles my parents went through in the 60s living in London, it's baffling. Once the government put in place, I guess, legislation where parents should not smack their child, everything went out of control in the home.
Thank you.
The kids have all the rights nowadays.
Yes.
Kids could take their parents to court.
Not only that, the children bullying parents. There's a program in Canada I was doing on bullying. I taught children, the martial arts school, parents come into the instructors, they ask them, could you work with my child? Beating up the parents in the house, call the police now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan says martial arts does instill discipline and self-control. Supporting what you're saying. Joycey Smith says, expose them. It's time for a change. Margaret Francis says, Wayne Francis, that is because it is easier to blame technology for all the social ills rather than take responsibility for parenting.
No, he's wrong. You have a point, but
Margaret is wrong.
Taking responsibility, blaming technology and taking responsibility. You have to remember something, you don't even have a sex therapist here. There's a lot of divorce on this island. A lot of divorce. Going to counseling is one, but it's most of them think there is sexual problem because of chemicals reaction in your body, aging and all. Nobody talking to nobody. So therefore, emotion, your brain, you feel self-esteem drop. You lash out. But if somebody is to talk to you and build your self-esteem, you have something to work with. Who talking to you? You get up in the morning, you open your cupboard, cockroach fighting in your cupboard. You eat a piece of bread, you go to the doctor, you say you have cancer, you need exercise, you lie down, you die like a bird. No, nobody talking to nobody.
Anthony DeRigg says that is how it is. You get more recognition if you could dance and whine on a stage.
Yeah.
Sad.
I'm not into that.
John says parents have no idea what their kids are up to online and leave it so, since it's easier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of the parents don't know what the heck the kid's doing in the bedroom. Okay. John Franco says a prophet is never one in his own land. I guess.
Wow, thank you, sir.
Oh yeah. Dorani Mitchell says you have a good program in karate. It can increase discipline for youths. Does it come with a price or voluntary?
It comes with a price and also volunteer. Martial artists all over the world, they volunteer. They also eat. You need a bird nest to live. You don't need a castle. So all you're asking for is to support the person so they can go out there.
All right. Joycey also wants to know, what's your website? You have a website?
Yeah, the Olive Branch Project Inc.
Hold on. www.
Yeah, Olive Branch.
Not the, just Olive Branch.
Project Inc.
Olive Branch Project Inc.
Yeah.
.com, right?
Yes.
Okay, let me see here. Info at olivebranchproject.com.
Yeah.
That's your email address.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
www. Olive Branch Project Inc.
All right. Bob Marisho says, I met the young man on numerous occasions and as late as November 2019. On our last meeting, I quizzed him for 2.5 hours and fully endorse his Olive Branch program. You know this man, Bob Marisho?
Yeah, I met him online.
Oh, online, okay. He says, I fully endorse his Olive Branch program and I'm willing and able to assist him when called upon. Mm-hmm. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
I told you about the kind of people who are watching?
Yeah.
All right. Wayne Francis says, Joycey Smith, it's not just London, it's everywhere. The problem is folks are making excuses for them, and too often blaming the white man, governments, and slavery. You know?
Can't give what you don't have. A lot of us, all people don't. If you don't have nothing in your pocket, you can't give nothing. So if you wasn't taught, you wasn't trained, you cannot give out. We wasn't trained. We was trained to serve. All the job in this place is about waiter, bartendering. It's about serving people. It's not about me being a businessman and all these things. Till investors come in and say, we don't have what it takes in order to be part of them. And we go in parliament and talking about it. Where we supposed to stamp out that. Teach our people. Educate. This is what's missing.
Catherine Roberts Pasco says, I'm always interested in finding someone to teach karate classes to the youths of Grenada. Mm-hmm. You have a Grenadian supporter.
Thank you.
Go to my page after the program, try and find out who Kathy is, send her a messenger or something. Michael Alexander says, the truth is that if he was aligned to the NNP, he would have gotten things done.
Yeah, but as a martial artist, you don't be in politics. A martial art is a way of life. So you're out here, you work with people, you want people to build, you want to get into their heart, clean it up, put them back out there so they can help society. Like a mango, you suck a mango, You plant the seed, it'd be about 1,000 mango, and if you give each person up one mango, they could go out and spread it.
Joyce E. Smith says, parents are bullied by children, but children are always right. And most of these parents are single. Some may have a father around, but they're busy doing their own thing.
That's true. Well, alcohol.
All right, listen, do me a favor here.
Yeah.
We got to go. Hold on. Margaret says, granted that some parents may not know, others do. Margaret is saying that, you know, the kids, the devices that the kids are using at home, they have parental control.
Yeah.
And therefore, the parent should make sure that those controls are used. Yeah, we're going to leave it at that. Give me your contact info again, because there are people out there who may be willing to help you. Okay.
The phone
Folks,
number and everything is here.
Folks. Master Coutain, his phone number is area code 473. Well, you know that. 538-4005. I repeat, 538-4005.
On WhatsApp, on Skype.
On WhatsApp and
also
Skype.
Skype, yeah.
Okay. Also, his email address, info@olivebranchproject.com, and the website is
www.olivebranch.com.
olivebranchproject.com. Melvaughn, good luck, sir.
Okay.
And listen, don't be deterred by the lack of cooperation. You know, when you try to get those in authority to go for projects like this, they don't care. They don't care.
I realize that. Yeah.
Thank you. I hate to say that, but I can't lie. I have to tell you the truth. Okay. Let me see here. Claudius McLeod says, children acting out if they cry for love and quality attention. Wow. Oh, he says, children acting out is their cry for love and quality attention. Many confuse the giving of material things as a means to fill the void for love and guidance not being given. iPad will never be an efficient substitute. And Wayne Francis says, Mr. Grant, hats off to you for bringing these good people on your program. Education is an amazing thing. Thanks a lot, Melvaughn.
Thanks very much, sir.
And don't go yet. I got to take a little break here.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this.
Where you get that?
At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
Why wish upon a star? For a bank is better by far. Whatever you're wishing for this Christmas will give you low interest and no fuss.
Co-op Bank is making Christmas wishes come true. Fix up your home, treat your loved ones, and get everything on your Christmas list this year with our no-fuss loans. As we count down the 12 days to Christmas, you can win awesome prizes every day. Special terms and conditions apply.
Christmas wishes come true with Co-op Bank and you.
Welcome home.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Spice Island.
GRENLec, energizing our Grenada.
Alrighty, folks, it's now 16 and a half minutes after 10 o'clock, Sunday morning, December 22nd. Listen, time now for us to hear what was said at that press conference with Mr. Peter Andall, who is the owner of Andall and Associates. And this was Friday, and I keep stressing that. I want you to remember this was Friday afternoon after normal working hours. As you listen to this, bear that in mind, because I am very curious about having some sort of reaction to what you are about to hear from the Internal Revenue Department, the IRD, or Ministry of Finance, or whatever, okay? So I've made a note that tomorrow morning, I'm going to send a copy of what you're about to hear to the IRD. And hopefully, I will have a response sometime during the week to share with you. Okay, Pilgrims? Here is Mr. Peter Andall as he explained reasons why he shut down Andall and Associates, a whole bunch of supermarkets here in Grenada. Check it out.
All right, folks, good afternoon. I just thought I should call you guys to update you all on the progress or lack thereof of our little escapade government. Now, let me just give a bit of background. This all started when the lawyers informed government that they were ready to complete the sale for Melvaughn Street. And upon learning that, they sent across a team of valuators to Melvaughn Street to ascertain whether the value we got for the building is in keeping with their value. And mind you, their value was probably half the price of what we got for the building. Nevertheless, they came, they did a measurement, took pictures, and finally I agreed that, yeah, well, the price we got for the building is in line or better than what we valued at. All right, so they certify how much taxes have to be paid on the sale. And then 2 letters were delivered to me. One addressed to Ms. Cobb, I think. She's the she's your Ms. Erica Cobb. Basically telling her, do not register the deed. Another one, go to the Customs Department, controller, saying to do not clear any goods for Andall and Associates.
Who were those from?
From Mr. Michael Stephen, controller of Customs.
Who's Erica Hall?
She is the Lands and Deed Supreme Court Registrar, I suppose. Just so. So we requested a meeting with Mr. Stephen to explain, what is this about. So I met with him. My lawyer was out at the moment. Met with him. Him, one Mr. Bess, and the Deputy Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance. Well, I was sort of lambasted, basically. The gentleman saying, basically, Andall, you haven't paid your taxes, you take government money and building your empire with it, and well, nonsense. Anyway, after much discussion, it was agreed that I explained to them that, listen, the building is sold now. I can now restructure the company, finance the company. I said I will get a loan from Cooperative Bank and pay all the taxes that I owe you. At the end of the discussion, we agreed that they would furnish a letter stating exactly what taxes that I owe, and also that if it's been paid within a 6-month period, they would waive the interest and penalty. Okay? I did see the letter about a few days after, but that important line, waiving the interest and penalty, was left out. Also, just around the same time, again, Mr. Stephen sent a letter to FCIB, First Caribbean National Bank. Yeah, that was on September the 18th. Basically saying to them to take whatever money we have in their account, in fact, to take $4,600,000 from our account and pay the office of Grenada. Again, we met with Mr. Stephen sometime later, asked him why this, and he says, Mr. Andall, the controller has the authority in law to do that. And we asked about carrying on the goods in the customs. He said, well, he will see, we'll walk along, see what he can do. Anyway, we asked him about the letter he sent to Ms. Cobb, and explained to him that that doesn't make sense. Here we have, we doing the sale, and everybody's going to benefit from the sale, So why would you stop the registration of the deed? Again, after much discussion, he agreed that they would withdraw the letter. All right. So he gave my lawyer a letter, basically withdrawing or nullifying the letter they sent previously to the registrar. Okay, in the meantime, he allowed a couple of containers to be cleared from the port, and then he didn't let any more being cleared. All right. So the sale went through, and we're thinking everything is fine because he withdrew the letter that he sent to the registry. Only to discover that the gentleman, later on, he called the registrar and tell her, don't register the deed. She apparently tell him, you can't just tell us on the phone, you have to send me an official writing. He did send it to her. So the deed for the sale of militia has not been registered. All right, so also in the meeting that we had with him, he said to us, okay, put a proposal to them of how we're going to pay off the taxes. We did, and he sent a letter to them on the 17th October, stating basically how we're going to, a proposal, how we're going to pay off the taxes. The gentleman took about 2 weeks. He didn't reply. Calls to him, he said, oh, it's in discussion. After 2 weeks, we asked for a meeting again with him. And he said, government is not happy with the proposal that we sent to them. And he said, from where he's sitting, he wants $1 million now. And then they will consider allowing us time to pay the rest. So we tell them, well, that's impossible, because the funds we get from the sale, most of it goes to the bank anyway, and the rest we have to pay the staff that will be fired. No. We even give him a complete list of the expenses, how the money we spend. He insisted, no, I want $1 million. And he said, in effect, he will reply to us, our proposal, officially in writing. And that's what will be in that reply. The next day, gentleman, email, I think it's the email he sent, yes, saying, after further discussion, he wants $2 million. So he's like, okay, that's got to be a joke now. Tell him we can pay one, now he's saying you want two. So, I mean, really, where is this going? And I'll give you guys the background so you'll understand, Okay, so discussion kind of broke down at that time, I think. I think it's fair to say that, because there was no meeting of the minds. Then, on November the 14th, I decided to sit down and write a letter to Mr. Stephen, kind of laying out all the facts of the case so far, and we actually written our position. We wrote him. It took again another 2 weeks before he replied. And basically, he replied saying, you want $1 million. Subsequent to that, he sent 2 more letters, 2 more garnishing letters, one to Cooperative Bank, another one back to First Caribbean, basically. Well, I should probably say that the garnish that he sent, first of all, to First Caribbean, he didn't get the money, because there was no money in the account, or at least that amount of money. And I think that got him very upset. Because in a phone call to me sometime in early November, he was upset. He said, all the lawyers, something about the lawyers outsmart him or something to that effect. And they didn't even get the money from the bank. So it appears to me that the reason why he allowed this sale to go through is because he was expecting to get the money from the bank. All right. I was saying that he sent two new garnish letters, one to Core Bank and one to First Caribbean. That was just around November the 26th. Yeah. And yes, November 26th. And just around that time, when we realized that, well, we got a copy of the letter also. He sent a copy to us. And we realized that when we check our accounts, that there was no balance in our account. We realized that the bank, in truth and in fact, took the money we had in the account for government. And they returned a couple of our checks that we had written to suppliers. And this is when we decided, well, we can't operate. If we can't pay our suppliers, we can write checks, then you just can't operate. And this is why we took the decision to shut the operations down. Now, since then, there have been conversations, talk with government officials. Actually, Mr. Peter David and Mr. Humphrey had meetings with my lawyer because for some reason I was told that they don't want to talk to me. I don't know why. I haven't been able to ascertain why they want to talk to me, but they met with a lawyer anyway. And they came to an agreement. I think last Friday, they came to an agreement, basically. But Mr. Peter David informed my lawyer that he had to get Prime Minister okay. On Monday, he informed my lawyer that he's having just a tough fight with Mr. Michael Stephen because he is not agreeing with the agreement that they came to. And since then, he has started taking over the negotiation between my lawyer and government. And it has been, I don't know, back and forth, changing positions, and up to this point, there has been no agreement.
Was he talking about this Peter David? Was Peter David take over the negotiation?
No, Michael Stephen.
Michael Stephen.
Mm-hmm. So this is where we are now. Questions?
Okay, so from the beginning, you mentioned about taxes. So what is the amount you're owing in taxes?
It's about $4.6 million.
Over what period?
Over probably 5 years.
Why is that so? Why is that so?
Why is that so?
Yes.
What caused you to wrap up, sir?
All right. Let me see if I could explain this. Forgetting. I'm on camera. We built Melville Street in 2008. Yes? And we had 2 good years. And then the Grenada economy went this way. So 2011, 12, 13, 14, very bad years, non-profitable years. We have been trying to get our bank, which was FCIB, to reschedule our debt, to refinance our loan, and they was refusing. Until we decided in 2018, okay, you know something, we gotta just sell Melville Street because the company couldn't bear the debt burden. And although we had an agreement for sale in early this year, it took that 9 months to conclude that sale agreement, that sale. Yes? And I could tell you, for the past couple of years, it was a matter of survival. You had to decide whether you're going to let the company sink or you're going to try and maintain the company and hope that you find a way to refinance the company. So we was paying just who we could pay. Paying your staff, paying your bills, paying suppliers, and even suppliers, some of them, it took, stretch out the payment time, yes? And so government was the one that didn't get all that they should have gotten. As simple as that.
So, over the 5 years, did you come to an agreement with the comptroller explaining your situation regarding the taxes, things that is supposed to be paid annually? Also?
Yeah, yes. Right. There have been discussion over the years, and I know.
So you had an agreement, they understand your situation? Is it all of a sudden they just up on it?
Well, that's what I'm saying to you. All of a sudden, yes, exactly so.
So they didn't give you any warning letter?
None.
Is it true
That's not true. That's totally false. That's totally false. No, that's not true.
So what is the next step for you now? What's the next step that you plan to take?
Probably have to sell the business.
So is there, you say there's no way out, and given the present situation, what exists presently,
Well, yeah, it appears so.
how many staff? One staff.
Well, it's like 200 plus.
It's very interesting, you know, because just a few minutes ago, somebody showed me one of our local newspapers, which said that you could possibly reopen before Christmas.
Well, I don't know where they get it from. Huh? I don't know the source of that story, not me.
All right. Since this happened, there's been a lot of discussion in the public domain about why it happened, because there are a lot of allegations that this failure to pay VAT is something that's very common in this country.
I'm glad you asked that question.
Pardon me?
I'm glad you asked that question. Let me explain this VAT for you guys. Now, when VAT came into effect, I was one of the business persons who said, this is a very unfair tax. And I was kind of just shut down, you know. I was told, well, it is in effect in other countries and, you know, whatever. The local business people didn't seem to be, you know, vocal in their position to the tax. And so it took effect. But VAT is a very insidious and unfair tax to the retailer. And let me explain to you. VAT works this way. You bring goods on the port, you pay some duty, customs service charge, whatever charges, yes? That's added to the cost of the goods, yes? And then you pay VAT on that total, 15% VAT.
15?
Yeah, percent VAT at the port, yes? And then you take that goods, and according to the VAT law, you are not allowed to make any markup on that 15% that you pay to government at the port. Before VAT, and there was the regular taxes, what happens is that you take your cost of your goods, what's your taxes, all your expenses, and then you put your markup. VAT came in effect, and you're not allowed to that 15%, you're not allowed to get any markup on that. And you might say, well, why not? I mean, to me, that is almost voodoo accounting. When you're paying money to government, and then you are told you're not allowed to make any markup on that money you pay to government, when it is an expense. It's an expense. So in effect, what you're doing there is giving government a interest-free loan. That's what this is, an interest-free loan to government. Let's look at it that way. If the value of your stock, your VATable stock, is $5 million, yes? You are, from the time you acquire that stock, you are paid to government $750,000. That you hope to recover when you sell the product. If you didn't sell it, if it expires, it's gone. If it's damaged, it's gone. So you're paying this money to government and you don't make a dollar on it. But even worse, if, like me, the money you take to buy the stock is what you lend from the bank, and you got to pay the bank 10% interest, how does this work out? Take money from the bank at 10% interest, and then you give it to the government at 0% interest.
So can I ask about the other
Sure.
aspect in terms of when the VAT is collected on the goods in the supermarket?
I'll get to that. Now listen about when you collect the money, the VAT, it's government money. remember, on those items, you already paid government 15%. So there's a small portion there that belongs to government. But the rest is yours because you are recovering money that you paid the government already. Do you understand how VAT works?
So you pay the VAT at the port, that's what you're
Yes.
saying? It's paid already at the port?
Yes. What government gets is the addition. Let me, I could explain that to people. What government gets is you buy something for $1. Yes? Let's say your expenses on that is 50 cents, the $1.50. You pay government VAT on $1.50. But when you're doing your markup now, you have to go back to $1.50. You don't add the money that you pay the government. So you put your markup on the $1.50. You understand me? And at the end, whatever money comes up with, you add 50% on that. You understand? But that 50% you add in there, it part of it comes back to you when you sell it because you already advanced government 50% on the product. Are you guys, am I confusing you guys? Or?
I'm a little bit confused.
VAT is a complicated thing and you have to understand how it works.
Well,
Look.
I have this question that I wanted to ask because
Tell
there
me.
was the perception of many that you were, how should I say, privileged or allowed to pay your VAT, at a later date than the due dates. So
That's not true.
As how you explained this in the response to my colleague's question, I think I get an answer and a better understanding of what it is you're speaking about. I was going to ask you that question, if that is true, and what would
That's
your
not true.
response be to it?
So you don't got no special privileges?
No, I got no privilege. No privilege.
I might be a little bit slow.
Tell me.
I might be a little bit slow in grasping this thing, but I want you to see if you could explain this to me. Earlier
Tell me.
on, you said that when you import goods, one, at the port, you pay duty.
Yeah, there's a duty, yes.
And what else?
There's custom service charge.
Custom service charge.
There's EVL.
EVL.
There's.
And then?
There's some the customs. There's another one. There's a port charge also.
4 charges there.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they
Yes,
add
you
those
add-
charges to the
exact-
price of the goods and charge you 15% VAT on top of that. I just want to make sure I understand that.
Yes.
Okay, now, the goods...
And you pay that
the
at the
goods
port.
you pay that at the port. That's even before the stuff has reached your supermarket.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now, it gets to your supermarket. You sell your products to the man on the street.
Good.
And you have to collect 15% tax from him, do you?
Yes.
Which goes to government?
Part goes to government because you have to remember. You have to remember how part goes to government. You take away what you paid to government. You take away what you paid to government. So if you collect, I don't know, if you collect $20,000, yes, from sale of your goods, yes, you work out 15% on that, but you subtract how much you pay the government for those goods, or for that month at the boat, or if you buy from any other importer, and they get the difference. It's not the entire amount.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So your profit on that, let's say, container of goods coming into your store, right? Derived from where? The profit from your sale, derived from where?
I mean from where? Well, the difference between
What government gets?
No. The profit is very different to VAT. The profit is very different to VAT. VAT is added at the end. After you put your markup, if your markup is 15%, then you put another 50% again, and that is VAT.
Okay, so I mean, I think I understand, but there's a discussion in between having feeling a bit confused. So
Tell me.
let me see if I understand what you're saying. What you're saying is that, right, when you bring in your goods at the port, along with all the other charges, the port fees and so on, you're the 15% VAT that is for government is applied at that time.
Yes.
When you go to clear your goods, right?
Mhm.
So when you clear your goods now and you bring them, you distribute it with within your stores and so, the VAT that is applied to the goods at that point, which the consumer now has to pay, what happens to that money?
But I'm saying that part of that money is money that you already paid to government.
Right, but what
VAT.
happens to it? That goes directly. So when you collect that percentage,
You're supposed to subtract what you pay already from what you collected.
and that money now is yours. Or it goes, the money that you collect now as the VAT that is applied to the goods in the store, that money goes to whom? That money goes back
Part
to the government.
goes to government
How much
and-
of that money goes back?
Well,
What's the percentage?
you see, how the percentage? Well, I don't know how else to explain this to you. I can't tell what percentage. I'm saying to you how it works is that in any given month, if the VAT that you pay, meaning the VAT that you pay on goods coming from the port, that you pay on goods that you acquire from other suppliers, yes?
Yes, I'm listening.
All that is added together. And then the VAT that you collect from selling to customers now is one separate from the other, gives you how much government should get. Okay. Well, I tell you, probably get somebody who more versed in this thing explain VAT to you. But that's how VAT works.
But if
That's how VAT for the retailer works. It's different for somebody who do not in a service industry.
I understand that. But what I'm trying to ascertain is, you're saying that when you clear the goods from the port, you pay that 15% VAT on the goods, right, that you collect. That 15% is paid to the government at the port.
Yes.
So I'm trying to figure out now what happens to the money, to the tax that is applied on the goods now for us, the consumer. What happens to that percentage? You're saying a percentage of that also goes to the government? And
Yes.
you keep a percentage?
Yes.
But you cannot tell me
No, because it depends. It depends on the level of your importation and your buying and your selling. It's all that factor in. It depends how much you sell, how much you buy in that given month.
But if the 15% VAT is collected at the port, well, I know you explained that because of financial difficulties and so on and so forth. But if the VAT is being collected at the port, then I don't understand how we end up in so much tax on the VAT.
But this is not just VAT. This is VAT. This is stamp tax. This is it's meant to be taxes in that.
Okay, so is the VAT, the stamp tax, and what else contributed to the large sum being owed now in taxes?
VAT, stamp tax, and income tax. Income tax.
All right, I understand.
Okay.
I really want the workers. I really want to know their present situation at this point. They're not workers.
Yeah.
The workers.
Yeah.
Did they receive? That's my next question. Did they? Their
Well,
compensation,
well, it's still in that process, Andrew.
It's Christmas next week, so will they be receiving, will they be getting anything? Are they to hope for anything? They have their bills to pay Christmas. What's happening with them?
Oh, that's a difficult one to answer because, like I say, as I explained to I explained to you that government has literally seized our account. They return checks. In fact, a staff who got paid 2 weeks ago, the check was returned. You understand me? So, to answer that question, I'm going to tell you, as government, because when you seize a company account and they can write a check, they can, it's hard to say, well, how I'll pay. But I'll start by sell stuff and pay them cash. Go ahead.
If this matter is not resolved, how soon do you see yourself liquidating?
I can answer that. I can
answer
that.
There's some people out there saying that you can close down this business and reopen another name, maybe be a silent partner or something like that. Is that something that might be possible of happening?
It's something that you could do, I suppose. I'm not interested in that anyway.
Okay, but that's
No, that's not it.
So if you get the business sold, right? What are your plans after that? To open up a new business also?
What are my plans to open a business? Like I say, I don't know. Can I answer that?
So what is it you really
Not.
want? You want now to government to come to an arrangement with government where you can pay off your taxes and get back to operating?
Well, that would be the ideal situation.
Okay.
That's what we've been advocating for the longest while.
But from where you sit right now, you don't see that happening. There's no indication that it's happening.
No, there's not. There's not.
So are you plan to approach like another bank or so to maybe see if you can secure a loan?
Well, the problem is this. The bank that we approach, and I'm sure they don't give us the money to pay off government. It's the same bank the gentleman sent a letter to garnishing our account. Now that immediately put spokes in your wheel, so to speak. You understand? That's where we're at.
In terms of the workers that are affected by this whole development, I mean, what sort of, I don't know if compensation is the right word, but I mean, we are in the Christmas season, and these workers now unemployed, so to speak. What sort of,
You see, but you're asking you can ask him the question.
I know it was said that the majority of them are single parents, and so I mean, we have lives and people maybe who don't even want by.
I mean, if they don't have physical cash, I mean, you have goods, I'm just throwing that out there, maybe a hamper or something.
How are you reaching out to them?
In your view, what would be the best alternative right now with regards to the workers in your view?
Let me tell you. I think we have made an effort to find some money to pay staff. So staff will get paid. So
Staff will get paid.
Yeah,
Well, that's
will
good
get paid.
news. That's very good news.
Paid for the month or paid off in terms of
Pay for the month. Pay for the
Paid
month.
for the month, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so they will be paid for the month because we are in December.
Yeah, normally what happens around Christmas time is that staff get paid in advance. You don't wait till end of the month to get paid. You don't get paid in advance.
Okay, so they will be paid some money.
Yes.
Okay, so so the bank sees your funds and so on. Do you plan to challenge that?
You know, we have been reluctant to go to court, although we know that the controller acted illegally. Because we thought it's best to kind of talk and settle the matter, as opposed to taking that step of going to court.
How could you say that the controller acted illegally when earlier on?
Because the law.
Hold on. You admitted that you owed back taxes.
Okay, so I'm saying to you,
That's
the
fine.
law clearly states the procedure. Step 1, step 2, step 3.
Okay, so it's
And
based
he
on
follows
procedure.
step.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was according to the law, to the best of your recollection? What are the steps that the controller should have?
He should first demand the money. That's the first thing. A letter saying you owe X amount of money and we demand payment within 21 days or whatever is the thing.
And that was not done.
And then, if you don't by that time, we reserve the right to take whatever action you take. That's the first step. You
But you're
understand?
saying that was not done?
No, it wasn't done. What happens is that, I suppose, he saw the money, we're getting paid with the property, and he just started taking action.
The property was sold to whom?
Hawkins.
And as you may see, a legal counsel, you did not make mention of who is your legal advisor in this matter.
The commission.
See, Mr. Andall, I can assure you that the general public is going to be watching this conference very, very carefully, because there's been a lot of debate out there as to who was right and who was wrong. There seems to be an evolving consensus that, yes, you have to accept blame for not having paid your VAT on time, but there are people, sir, who are awfully suspicious that this thing was not handled. I mean, you're saying the same thing, the way it should. Process is wrong. So people, now they've had a chance to hear from you. I guess they'll be in a better position to make their minds up.
Suppose.
So now when you say that you asked them to take the money from the bank or was it the control of customs to take? Was 4 million?
The Control of Customs sent a letter to the bank asking them to garnish our account $4,600,000.
The bank.
The money wasn't there, so
Subsidy, but the bank would have.
the money wasn't there, so they couldn't.
So was it standing or the government get the money?
No,
So the money gone.
I don't understand. Maybe money gone. Confusing me. I suppose he assumed that the total money for the sale would go to the bank.
Okay.
And he will get the money that he asked for.
Okay, as it relates to the sale, you mentioned earlier that when the government, you can correct me if I'm misquoting, when the government got to find out that the sale was in motion, they sent evaluators to value the property and so on and so forth. And then you said that the figure that they were proposing as the actual value was half in what you actually got for the company.
Not proposing. I didn't say proposing. You know, there's a valuation division in the Ministry of Finance. Yes, that values property. Yes. All right. So what I'm saying to you is that so they have value there for property because you pay tax every year.
What was that figure?
I don't know that figure.
What was the figure you got the building?
60 million. So what I'm saying here is that they send people from their division to come and value the property to ascertain whether the 16 million was a reasonable figure for the sale of the property.
Oh, so you're under the impression that they thought the 60 million was too much?
Wasn't enough.
Oh, you mentioned earlier about the deed not being registered. So is the sale final?
Yes, it's final. But Hogan's can get a deed register because Mr. Stephen insisted.
But you're in possession of the monies, though.
Yeah, of course. The money is spent a long time ago. The bank get the money, about get the money.
You were able to pay the supplies and so on?
Well, no, because the monies basically went to the banks that we owed.
So what is the status now between the relationship between the company and the suppliers?
Well, it's not good. And I mean, it gets worse, really, because of this impasse.
Are they sympathetic to the situation, or are they applying pressure or so?
Well, pressure has not been applied yet. It's kind of still, early days. But yeah, some cause of, sympathy.
Is there light on at some point? Do you see this thing ending positive for the many workers who now on the bad?
Boss, it's hard to say. I don't know what government would do or what is their thing. I just find this is just a crazy situation. Something that need not have happened.
The government or the...
And yes, I'm using that word loosely, government, because in effect, Mr. Stephen represents the government. You understand me? And whether he is doing this on his own accord or, you understand me? I don't know. I can't say. Yes?
The department does fall under the Ministry of Finance.
Yes, it does.
It's headed by the Prime Minister himself.
Yeah.
Do you
Where
guys
then?
have final say on whatever decisions is made from that ministry?
I agree.
Have you met the Prime Minister?
No, I met him.
Do you see this as a personal attack?
I don't want to think so. I don't want to think so.
From your previous discussion, what was the reason given that the ministry is not willing to do a payment plan with you?
Remember the press conference with Andall?
One of the things that was said was that we had promised them sometime in the past to pay some payment plan, and we didn't stick to it.
You're not willing to accept this time. You're not willing to go that this time. The one-off payment, looking at a one-off payment for all.
Well, we offered that.
And
We offered that. We offered to get a loan from the bank to pay off the entire debt.
And what happened?
Well, let's say he just started taking action. He didn't. We offered that.
But that is why I asked if you think it's a personal attack.
I don't. You want me to make a judgment, and I can't do that.
No, I'm just indicating why I asked the question, because if you're offering...
I found it very strange.
Yeah,
I found this very strange. I found it very strange. You know, you don't expect your government to behave in that way. You know, I found it very strange. But again, and I use the word government, but Mr. Stephen is the point person.
So my final question, what are the lessons you're learning from this situation as a businessman going forward, or what advice you have for other business
Well,
people?
the first thing I would say is be very careful when you take on debt. Debt could kill you as a business. Yes, you have to be very careful. You see, sometimes in the good times, you can handle the debt, but if there's a slowdown in the economy, you don't have a chance really. And I find that banks still, and I don't like to get in being racist, but I find banks still treat us not the way we should be treated.
Us as in locals?
Yeah, locals, yes. Locals. And I also would say to government and government officials also treat locals very badly too. Very, very badly. And I heard this big release that government cannot, what's the word they use? I suppose in effect, forgive taxes or they use a word, waive taxes. Yes? And I'm saying, but you waive taxes. When the big hotels come and bill here, 15 years, 20 years tax exemptions. They do it all the time. But for the locals, nothing. After Ivan, they offer hoteliers down there waive taxes and all kind of concessions. Yes? Did they give the locals anything?
So what you're saying as a local...
Nothing. I've never gotten $1 in the concession from government. Not $1. You understand me? And I say, A&A has invested millions of dollars over the years in this economy. And not just in employing people and paying staff, but in the real estate and millions of dollars go to government over the years. And the locals do a lot for the economy. And they're not being recognized and they don't get the respect. In fact, they're being treated with disdain by government.
Alrighty, folks, there you have it. That was Peter Andall speaking to the media on Friday afternoon. And as I mentioned, I'm very anxious to get a response from the IRD, in particular, Mr. Stephen. But we'll have to wait until tomorrow because this press conference took place between 4 and 5 o'clock, and you know that it doesn't make sense calling government offices after midday on a Friday. This obviously sparked a lot of reaction on your part, and I'm going to try very quickly to run through this because we're starting to slip behind time. Wayne Francis says, I watched this twice, and I'm still trying to understand this man. Kipling Francis says, can someone explain why did Mr. Andall have a press conference without the presence of his lawyer? Margaret says, Kipling, I was thinking the same thing when he said he met with finance officials without his lawyer. Shaking my damn head. Wayne Francis says, my question is, how did it get like this? Was it bad management to blame? Benjamin Rouget says, hope he doesn't incriminate himself. He's a simple man, and I think he just wants to tell the truth. John says to Margaret, exactly my thoughts. Did he take notes, lawyer, or record these meetings? Otherwise, it's a matter of he said, she said. Von D says he is functioning by himself he's functioning by himself or under the direction of the Minister of Finance. Can't answer that. Sean says he should have recorded the meetings. John says he is simply a man, not a simple man. Wayne Francis says, I'm really nosy. trying to figure out what name brand water he drinking. Wait. Benjamin Rouget says, I know he is a man, but there are different kinds of men, and I see him as a simple person. Perhaps person is a better word. Wayne Francis says, why is Steele's name in this? He's the Minister of Health. Joyce E. Smith says, would this interview be broadcast on GBN so that the nation and the employees hear this? Whoa, the people of Grenada must wake up. Ryan says, it's tough doing business in Grenada. Andall's and Associates is my favorite place in Grenada. We need them back. John says, Wayne, because it's a big cake to slice up and lots of hungry ones around. Wayne agrees. He says he loves the food at Andall's. Great food, great value. Claudius McLeod says, so the fact is, he owed back taxes that need to be paid. That said, what steps were taken by the government to realize a win-win outcome from the situation? Given that this is a going business concern, employing hundreds of people, will be interesting to hear government's logic. Ryan says, I don't like VAT. It's a self-defeating tax. Margaret says, so wait a minute. Based on what he's saying, government collects VAT twice on the same product? If the importer pays VAT and the consumer pays VAT on the same product, then you're paying twice, no? Math is not my strong point, so maybe someone here can explain. Margaret, if you were listening, girl, that was the same thing that jumped out at me. You might have heard my questions. Same thing. Claudius McLeod says, if what he describes, re the VAT, is true, that is the most nonsensical thing I have ever heard. Passing on costs to consumers is business 101 stuff. Samantha McFarland agrees. Benjamin Rouget says, he has great local food and the atmosphere and view are a good line. Bob Marichaux agrees with Margaret, says, very good observation, Margaret, you are correct. I'm very good at maths. Yeah, I was puzzled, really puzzled by that. John says, so he's paid VAT to get the stock into the country and then has to charge the purchaser VAT to buy the items. Then he has to pay the government that VAT again? Okie doke. I think he may have tried to explain that only part then goes to the government. Well, Bob Marichaux also says he qualifies the statement by saying that he subtracts what he collects at the store from what he already paid at the port. Okay, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that, but there seems to be some logic there. Wayne Francis says, so he pays VAT, he pays tax on goods, hoping to recover if the good sells or doesn't spoil. Joyce E. Smith says, are we sure that Grenada is not sold to a foreign investor? If this is the way matters are dealt with by the government, this is very serious. God help the people of Grenada. Sean says, I can see 4 million reasons why he should have dealt with this earlier. Feeling a tax is unfair does not give you the right not to pay it. Good point, Sean. John says, and to rub salt into the wound, isn't the VAT going up by 2% soon? Debatable. Wayne Francis said, it's so sad because at the end, it's the poor workers and their families who are suffering. Jennifer Myers says, he's not very good at explaining his thoughts. I think he knows the business and how it works and the taxes paid to the government, but not good at all at explaining. Some people are good at doing, but not good at explaining. But I get the drift. Brian says, the merchant can't sell the VAT paid goods. Benjamin Rouget says, by the way, does Grenada have a bankruptcy law? Anyone? Claudius McLeod says, it seems like there's a breakdown in communications here, at least as it relates to the VAT. Is it possible that the two VATs, what business pay and what customers pay, were conflated to result in the contradictory statement that he could not pass on costs he incurred re-VAT? Something smells fishy in Denmark. John Nozinek says, I noticed the media in this press conference pushed some very probing questions. Yet on other press occasions, they couldn't or dare not. Bob has some advice here. Bob says, what I would advise him to do is get credit for spoilage of the goods which he paid VAT on. This looks like a bookkeeping nightmare. My one and only job in Grenada was at the IRD many years ago, for about 2 years, under the watchful eyes of the late Gordon Robertson, Clanton Robinson, and tax advisor Harry B. Petch. My verdict is meet him halfway. Okay. Your choice, Grenada says. Not really, Margaret. When he pays the 15% at the port, his sales during that particular month may not generate enough to offset what he paid up front. This now puts him in a negative cash flow situation. This is my opinion. This, in my opinion, is what he considers unfair. Wayne Francis says, your choice, Grenada. That's he's responding to the last participant there. This is what I too understand. Makes no sense. Bob Marichaux is asking, where are his accountants in all of this? Shouldn't they advise him on the consequences of not paying taxes? Ernesto Jose says, I'm listening to Mr. Andall and calling on the CCC once again to step in to be a mediator between Andalls and government, because we have over 200 plus people unemployed and may not be having a great Christmas. And most of all, don't know where their next paychecks are coming from. Very sad position one can be in. Sean says, due process was not allowed by either side. And he does not seem to understand that he does not have to pay on pillage and spoilage. He needed a good accountant. Government may not have a legal responsibility to his staff, but they have a moral responsibility. And Bob agrees with that. Benjamin Rouget says, so the merchant pays a VAT on his purchase up front. Seems like what other jurisdictions refer to as gross receipts. What I am getting, the merchant doesn't pay additional tax, but the consumers, the 15% the merchant pays is a bit high. Otherwise, I see it correctly. It ain't that bad. If I see it correctly, it ain't that bad. Oy, oy, oy. I'm trying. Margaret Francis says, your choice, Grenada. I wasn't talking about the unfairness. He said he pays 15% VAT on goods at the port. If he pays VAT and then the consumer of those products pay VAT when they buy the product, then government is collecting VAT twice on the same product. And this is what my question was about. Your choice responds. When he pays the amount on the port, this is offset or subtracted from what he collects from the consumer. If he collects more from the consumer, then the difference he pays. If he collects less from the consumer, then he does not pay anything in that particular month. Kalinago Black Carib Noir says, in order for everyone to pay VAT, he must be charged twice. In order for everyone to pay VAT, it must be charged twice so that both the consumer and the retailer pay taxes. Sure, there's some logic in there, it just happens to escape me. Oswald Darbo says it would be interesting to know how the other supermarkets, visibly Food Fair, Foodland, Calico, SOG, and others, treat VAT. That should shed a light on Andall's situation. Peter Bishop says, I have listened to Mr. Andall's press conference and feel sorry for the workers. My other interest is the many questions from some of the journalists present. However, the same journalists go to the government press conferences weekly and fail to ask tough questions of government officials, but was very tough on Mr. Andall. I hear you, Pedro. Okay, Pilgrims, quick. Quick break here.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
How are you, sir? Okie doke, folks. Okie doke. Yeah, where am I? I'm here somewhere. Just hold on a sec. Yeah, there I am. Okay. Pilgrims, this past Thursday was no exception. We had one of those routine visits from Mr. Allan Bierzynski. And yeah, I mean, how could you go through 25 minutes or so without having a chuckle at Mr. Bierzynski? Check this out. How are you, sir?
Good morning. I'm very well. Season's greetings to you and yours.
Thank you very much. To you, too. I certainly hope you have written to Santa Claus, and without divulging what you have asked for, just a yes or a no?
No.
You neither, eh? Allan, listen, boy, you know, I have this thing already planned, you know, where I'm going with you this morning, but I'm going to give you the first shot and just simply say, Allan, what's up your sleeve this morning? Give me 3 guesses, and the first 2 don't count. What's up your sleeve this morning, AB?
The issue must be corruption.
Corruption. Oh, I thought it was going to start with the word B, like in buffoon.
No, I'm not paying attention to the impeachment.
Excuse me?
No, because what's the point, really? I listened to a few hours of the proceedings yesterday, which are a rehash of everything that we've heard over the last several weeks. But the Republicans went to extremes, comparing the process to the Salem witch trials, to the impeachment of Jesus Christ by Pontius Pilate. I mean, these people are professed Christians who have abandoned all their principles in the pursuit of the single-minded objective of getting as many judges appointed into the federal system as possible who share their bigoted views. And that leader, Mitch McConnell in the Senate, not only has made no secret of his agenda, but has been on Fox News laughing at the fact that he spent the entire time that he was majority leader in the Senate frustrating every effort made by the Obama administration to appoint any judges. And that is just at the federal level, the circuit courts. Forget about the Supreme Court, because we know what happened to Garland Merrick. So I'm not paying any attention to them. This is a mere distraction. The issue must be corruption. We have heard in recent times the leader of our OECS, companion state, sister state, Antigua, where the Prime Minister is making it clear that he needs somebody working at the IMF to be fired.
Yeah.
Something to do with an audio recording, which you and I are both familiar with.
Yes.
He apparently is able to identify the speaker, and apparently has taken issue with some of the statements made. My only reaction is I would like to know to whom the speaker was addressing the remarks. Someone called Philip, apparently. I don't know who that might be. If we find out who Philip is, then we might be better informed as to who the speaker is. But it doesn't change the fact that the speaker has expressed opinions which are well-founded, because as we have discussed, there is a lot of research out there which concludes that it is corruption that has led to the underdevelopment of a lot of countries in the world, not just in this region.
Yeah.
But if we were to stay closer to home, a recent survey has disclosed, well, not disclosed, has estimated that 25 to 30% of the economy of Trinidad and Tobago is the so-called informal economy. And this is perhaps what the administration there and the central bank governor are trying to address. You want to try and bring the informal economy within the ambit of the formal economy. Because unless you know what is actually taking place in an economy, all of your national data, the statistics, mean nothing. You cannot plan for your water infrastructure. You cannot plan for electricity. You certainly can't plan for roads if you can't understand where the money is coming from, in the case of Grenada, to import motor vehicles by the several hundred every 2 weeks. You cannot plan if you have no idea what is the source of the economic activity. You cannot plan if you don't know who are the individuals involved in trafficking. Trafficking does not mean just narcotics. trafficking also means human being. When you see individuals who, on the face of it, are not Grenadians, and you can tell by the way they dress, by their complexion, by their speech, and you have to ask yourself the question, what are these people doing here? When it is alleged that there are places of ill repute frequented by individuals who ought to know better, then you ask yourself the question, where is the money coming from and where is the money going? Who are the people who are able to operate under the radar in the informal economy because they deal only in cash? As you know, the old saying, cash talks. So corruption must be the issue. So whether it is in Trinidad, which is very close to us, and we can see that it is necessary for people with large reserves of cash in Trinidad to find a way to exchange the blue notes for the polymer notes issued by the central bank in the next 10 to 12 days. And I don't think the central bank will be open at Christmas and Boxing Day. So they really have a problem. But the corruption is fueled by the greed of those individuals who benefit from it. And it is not poor people that benefit from corruption, because they only get the crumbs falling off of the table. It is the big money men who roll around with the cash. Those are the ones who benefit. Those are the ones who now have a problem in Trinidad and Tobago in trying to find creative means to exchange the ill-gotten gains of blue notes for the polymer notes. I saw a video where the former governor of the central bank, one Jawala Rambaran, is making complaints about the puppet central bank governor and a 2x2 lawyer and a failed engineer. Not being Trinidadian, I have no idea whom he is maligning in his statement, in his mockumentary that he published, disseminated. But he is clearly accepting the fact that people who are growing, you can grow bhaji and cucumbers and tomatoes and whatnot, are perfectly capable of stockpiling $50,000, $75,000 in blue notes. Now, I haven't bought vegetables on the side of the road in Trinidad, but I would hardly think that you would buy vegetables and you would pay for it in a blue note. But nevertheless, maybe the cost of living in Trinidad is higher than I understand it to be. So, corruption means that your national planners will always be at a disadvantage. But how does corruption affect us individually? I was avoiding a pothole at the road which leads to the Grandance estate. I was on two wheels, and so I have a fairly good understanding of potholes, where they are, and how best to avoid them. But what particularly struck me was that the particular potholes being attended to were being filled with what is referred to, I believe, as cold mix. That is just the black sticky tar the asphalt. Now, here you have an 8-inch square pothole, about 6 inches deep. And so a shovel full of the sticky stuff is placed into the pothole. Then some beach sand is spread on it. And it is left to be compacted in place by vehicles driving along. Because there is no filler in the hole, no gravel, no aggregate, then the first heavy shower of rain or the first large SL vehicle that drives over it creates a depression. The water pools, and within 3 weeks, the job has to be done again. Now, you have a 50-50 chance of describing this, a choice. Is it incompetence or is it corruption? I don't know the answer. The people who issue the contracts to the road patchers and the people who carry out the road patching having obtained a contract. And then now that I say it, I wonder if it is the case that the people who have been awarded the contracts are actually the same ones who are carrying out the works, or whether there is a system, a network of corruption involved in this. And if not corruption, maybe just sheer incompetence. One of the more frightening announcements this week came out of the Ministry of Infrastructure, I believe it is called, since we no longer have a Public Works Department, where the permanent secretary was sharing with the public the identified or suddenly perceived or the revelation that we need to have a 3-year corporate plan for infrastructure. Well, help me here. I thought that we had been talking about a plan to the year 2030, which had been revised to 2035 or some such. Where is this 3-year corporate plan suddenly coming out of the blue to address the matter of sinking and subsiding roads in Molyneux and wherever else roads are falling? We have a serious problem with planning. We have a serious problem with either incompetence or corruption. Take your pick. We have a serious problem with the people who are running our country, because they're running it down and are done.
AB, John Franco says you're opening up a can of worms.
Well, I'm sorry to have done it, but I don't know if you have a can of worms, if the worms could boil up until they bust the lid. I don't know.
I just hope you have $350,000 to pay the lawsuit.
Not 1 cent.
Just going back.
Remember, it is the truth that shall set thee free.
Yes, sirree. Going back a little bit here, Margaret Francis says, actually, Allan, it is not unusual to pay for small items in TNT with a blue note. It is far more common than you think, especially since the TT dollar was allowed to float.
Well, let's put it this way, $46 or $43 EC is probably what you will get for a blue note. But if I'm buying vegetables, I wouldn't have thought I would be buying $40 EC worth of bhaji or tomatoes or whatever. They were just spoiled. Seems excessive. Nevertheless, it is the people in Trinidad who are living the experience are the ones that catch in the tail. We just have to be careful that we don't import those sorts of problems.
Do me a little favor, and please don't laugh at me. What is bhaji? I told you
To
don't
tell
laugh
the
at me, Allan.
truth, no, I'm laughing at myself because I'm using the term because I heard Jawala Rambaran say it. But I'm thinking it must be similar to Kalaloo. I'm not certain.
Jawala Rambaran. You spent the whole night practicing that, didn't you? Jarala Rambabam? Who?
Rambaran.
Rambaran.
Yeah. I was amused that as a former governor of the central bank, he kept talking about these truths that they want to push down the truth.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, Allan, so you talk about corruption. Allan, I just can't let you get away with this. I mean, I spent the whole night in anticipation of listening to you speak about somebody whom you have branded as a buffoon. I mean, yesterday was a historic day for the United States. That's all I've been hearing on television, historic day for the United States. And you come on here this morning and you just kind of brush that aside?
Yeah, I mean, if the Republicans want to compare him and the process to the Salem witch trials and Jesus Christ's appearance before Pontius Pilate, I can't address this level of ignorance. I wouldn't waste my time with that, frankly. And perhaps no one else should, because these Republicans they are beneath contempt. When you listen to them, speaker after speaker, in complete denial of the facts. I mean, why bother? You cannot have a discussion with people like that. You cannot have an argument with people like that. They are fanatics. They are ignorant. And frankly, in this season of goodwill and in the spirit of good cheer, I don't think that any of us ought to depress our outlook by listening to these idiots who constitute the Republican minority in the House of Representatives. Let us instead concentrate on the idiots whom we have to listen to whenever there is a meeting of our House of Representatives.
Floyd Nicholas is asking here, and the Democrats are not doing likewise? Are the Democrats doing likewise?
Sorry, the Democrats what?
Aren't they doing likewise?
No, I thought that the presentations that I saw on television were measured in their delivery, constituted the facts. None of this is news, of course, because we've heard all of this before. And they have gone through the procedure which their House rules require. So I didn't see any Democrats going off ranting and raving. They seem to have been well choreographed with regard to observing the solemnity of the proceedings and the unfortunate conduct of the commander-in-chief, which has led to the impeachment entirely of his own doing. So I suppose, I think as the Speaker Pelosi said, this is an exercise in civics. It's a civics lesson. And from that point of view, I found it very instructive. It's a pity that some of our lawmakers don't understand that they swear an oath to the Constitution that overrides party loyalty. And perhaps if they were better informed, we might have a more satisfactory system of governance in our country.
Would you say, Allan, that what happened yesterday is a reflection of the will of the American people?
No. because only about 50%, according to polls, only about 50% support the impeachment. So I don't believe in 50% as showing one way or the other. It could be 50-50. It's just like I have never understood the move for Brexit, because that referendum was won by an absolutely razor-thin majority, which is why, to my mind, our system where you need a two-thirds majority for constitutional change makes more sense. Bear in mind that Trump having been impeached, if it gets to trial in the Senate, that jury has to vote to impeach again by a two-thirds majority, and that won't happen given the current constitution of the Senate, where Mitch McConnell has already rigged the, well, there's no trial yet, but he's already made it clear what the outcome will be. So I don't see that any of this reflects the will of the people. If you ask me, the will of the people was subverted in 2016 through the influence, and this is documented, through the influence of the Russian security services using social media with these bots to influence the easily influenced. Remember, almost 3 million people more voted Democrat than Republican. It is because of this unusual structure of the Electoral College that the buffoon ascended to the highest office in the land.
You mentioned that maybe 50-50 split in the population's view on this. Amy, do you think that what happened yesterday could be, or probably should be, an example for the Grenadian people that they do hold power in their hands? In other words, you know,
I don't know how many
Grenadians.
I don't know how many people were watching. I don't know how many people understand. I don't know how many people care. And that's my honest opinion. Because let us go back to where I started. Corruption. If a significant proportion of people literally don't give a damn, as long as they could eat a food, we have nowhere going and we reach.
So we'll blame ourselves.
Absolutely. There is ignorance abroad. There is misinformation. There is disinformation, and there is ignorance. Ignorance in the term of meaning, the meaning I'm putting here to ignorance is lack of information, as well as no desire to have information.
Sort of don't care attitude.
Yep, they don't care. And this is promoted by our culture. Ash Wednesday could fall on Good Friday as long as Rum Day.
All right, Amy, let's move now from Mr. Trump's impeachment to Grenada very briefly. I'm sure you've heard that there are 2 lawsuits floating around big time now. And I want to get your views on that more specifically. One person is being asked for $150,000. The other one's asked for $350,000. And
yeah, well, what I find interesting about this, now they're not lawsuits yet. So far, they've just been letters, you know?
Right, correct.
So therefore, when you mention lawsuit, I was about to immediately say to you, don't go there, because the matter is sub judice or sub judice, depending on your Latin pronunciation. But since it is not yet before the court, we are able to comment on these letters that we have seen. And what struck me is that the complaints outlined in the first letter, to me, appear to be a lot more serious complaints. And only $150,000 is being claimed. But in the second instance, the complaint has to do with the circulation of a video which was starring an individual, and they're asking for $350,000, which suggests to me that a video of your comments appears to be capable of more injury than the complaints in the first letter. I think something about wicked, corrupt, and some other descriptions. So apparently the video is worth 350, but calling somebody a old thief is only 150. I don't understand.
You know, the press conference that was held this week, Claudette Joseph and her attorney, they were pretty adamant that this thing ain't going anywhere. And, you know, they were calling on Grenadians to stand up because there's a lot going on in this place that just really doesn't make an awful lot of sense. Do you think that cry is getting out there, A.B.? Stand up, stand up, stand up.
I don't know. As I said earlier, the corruption appears to be endemic. There are people who don't care as long as they could eat our food. They are not concerned about where the money is coming from. They are not concerned about our birthright being sold to foreigners as long as they could eat our food. That is the depths to which a significant portion of our population has sunk. And I regret to say that the character of the citizenry is directly related to the character of those charged with governance.
Yes, sir.
In corporate circles, there's a phrase which has been in circulation for a long time. It's called tone at the top.
Yeah.
Unless the tone at the top is one that is worthy of emulation, then don't expect anything lower down. And that goes back to the old saying, fish does rotten from the head.
Yeah. All right, A.B., just before I let you go, a couple of comments here. One from Donna Joseph, one from Cassandra Mitchell. Donna says, GG, the Grenadian people don't know the meaning of holding power in their hands because it's not about morality and transparency in governing this nation and what the people who they have elected is. As the old people would say, the commonness which is taking place, and no one is blinking an eye in holding these people accountable once they can eat a food. You agree?
Yep, unfortunately, that is what we see. I will also comment that with regard to people appreciating the power that they have in standing up for what is right. Your time and my time passed.
Yeah, yeah.
Where are the young people? Where are the young professionals? Where are the people who went to university? All of these doctors and lawyers and engineers, all of the people who are engaged in skilled work, who should be able to tell a politician where to get off. Where are they? I do not know. Maybe they're having a good time.
Well, there's a youngster here by the name of Cassandra Mitchell who says, A.B., you're right. As an advocate, I have noticed a lack of social and political consciousness amongst our people. I get the impression that many don't care about being informed. Others are misinformed. How do we change that? Can we?
Well, the truth is that as what is it? The ship has sailed, or the horse is out of the stable, or whatever you want to say. Because the reality is that social media is where many people get their information from. And if the social media networks that you are on is comprised of like-minded individuals who are all susceptible to the same messages coming from the same sources, and sometimes you don't know whether it's actually the same source because they're using bots. So social media is a terribly dangerous platform to be on unless you are concerned enough to be skeptical about what you see. And if the only news you get, if you are addicted to having your phone provide you with information, a fair amount of that information is going to be wrong. It's going to be propaganda. And this is how, as I understand it, these elections that we have seen up and down the islands, there are certain media consultants who are doing an excellent job in using social media for these nefarious purposes. So, God help us.
Okay, Amy, yeah, that's what we have to do, ask him to help us. Thanks a lot, Amy, we gotta run. But, let me see.
Okay. How come you said nothing about my red shirt? It's Christmas.
Oh, it's Christmas. All right, sir. I thought it had something to do with the Dominican elections, but I wasn't going to bring that up. No?
Mm-mm.
All right. Amy, I doubt whether we'll be seeing you again before the holidays. May I take this opportunity to wish you and Hazel a wonderful holiday season? And boy, do I look forward to you continuing your rant next year. I mean, I'm just waiting with bated breath. God knows where we're going. Thanks a lot, bro.
Okay, all the best. Bye.
Alrighty, folks, there you have it. Just want to remind you that that was an excerpt from Thursday's edition of Good Day Grenada. Okay, now there's not going to be an edition this coming Thursday. It's Boxing Day. Georgie Porgy's going to take some time off. Now, folks, because of time constraints, I think we need to scoot along here. The next piece runs just under half an hour. And this has to do with Claudette Joseph, an attorney at law, who has been notified that she could wind up having to pay the Prime Minister of Grenada some 350,000 smackaroos. Yeah, because of a comment that she made pertaining to the shrimp farm project and an allegation that Prime Minister Mitchell is an investor in that project. Actually, her attorney is going to explain the whole thing to you. They met with the media this past week, and I captured that. I want to share it with you.
Yes, members of the press, we are here on account of what I deem to be a very formidable threat, not just to a few people in Grenada, but against the populace. We used to call it the masses, against everyone, regarding free speech and the ability to comment on the actions of the government of the day. I'm here with my client, Ms. Claudette Joseph of Council, and she has retained me to represent her with respect to threatened court action against her for having the audacity to comment on, and I'm trying to choose my words carefully, on a comment made by the Prime Minister in the now ill-fated shrimp farm in St. Mark's. You would know that the shrimp farm and its demise was the subject of an Al Jazeera report that implicated our Prime Minister and the Prime Minister of Dominica in alleged corruption with respect to the issue of diplomatic passports. So that was the project that was identified in the Al Jazeera report as being the subject of corrupt practices. And Ms. Joseph commented on an NDC program regarding a statement made by the Prime Minister. And she has received a letter, and I want to comment in a bit more detail on the contents of the letter. She received a letter from the husband of the Minister of Legal Affairs threatening suit. And the letter speaks about conflict of interest. And I just want to comment first of all that however you want to put it, it is quite obvious there is a conflict of interest there. It's the husband of the Minister of Legal Affairs. Grenadians are not dumb. You understand what that means. But even stranger than that is that in the letter, Mr. Stewart is saying on behalf of the Prime Minister that the Prime Minister did not utter certain words, but the Grenadians have heard and seen the YouTube clip. So my question is, what really is this threat about? I think it is a signal to Grenadians, be careful what you say, or we would sue you. That's what I believe. Because if the Prime Minister is on record uttering the very words that Ms. Joseph seeks to interpret, what is the idea behind the suit? But even stranger yet is the sum of money, $350,000. That's the sum that's demanded. And I'm asking myself this question. Did the Prime Minister, or does the Prime Minister reasonably expect Ms. Joseph to go into a bank account and pay him $350,000 because she made a comment on what he said? So the objective is not really for settlement, but the objective is to send a signal to Grenadians, shut up or else. And this is what is threatening me. Because somebody who wants to objectively make a comment, I believe, would stop and say, boy, I have to be careful because I don't have that kind of money. There was another letter that was issued to a radio station in which certain comments were made. The letter to that organization did not say exactly what was said, but $150,000 was demanded. And normally in pre-action letters, we would say to the other party, look, let us meet and agree on a sum for damages. You don't come out and demand an extraordinary sum of persons. You are saying, pay up or else. You're not saying let's negotiate as to what really should be paid. So that is striking also. And what really is disturbing me is this. Grenadians right now and our country has been, and I'm not saying every single year or every period, but there was a height at which point Grenada had a reputation of being a very corrupt country in terms of government practices. And that seemed to have died down a bit, but it seems we are continuing in the same practice. I remember growing up and my parents used to say, show me your company and I'll show you who you are. And then I heard, well, the statement everybody knows, birds of a feather flock together. We seem to be having company consistently with a number of persons who are crooks. And we can't escape it. It's happening over and over and over and over again. And Grenada has developed such a reputation. And I understand the letter to be saying to my client that your statement is implicating the Prime Minister in an action which speaks of a conflict of interest. But then why did not the Prime Minister watch the words that he was saying? Why not? And let me make another comment along that line. We heard the Prime Minister go overseas and accuse the doctors and nurses in the general hospital of being thieves. Nobody sued him. And again, if I'm incorrect, you tell me to my face. Nobody sued the Prime Minister when he accused the doctors and nurses and professional persons of being thieves. The Prime Minister goes into Parliament and says all kinds of defamatory things about people, and he knows that in Parliament he can't be sued. But as soon as somebody says something about him, he wants $350,000, or else he's going to go to court. Well, we have responded, and we said emphatically, we are paying not a cent to you, period. We don't want to go to court. If you want to go to court, please feel free to go to court, right? But you are not going to get a cent. You've got to go to court if you want to go and prove, and then we're going to take it from there. So that is the position. My client, who is sitting to my right, is not prepared to accede to any of the demands that are contained in the letter which came from Nigel D. Stewart and Associates, demanding money and demanding an apology. As far as I am concerned, I have studied what my client has said. I've studied what the Prime Minister has said. And I believe there is no cause for an apology. There is no need for an apology. And the Prime Minister would have to find another way to get $350,000. It wouldn't come from Ms. Joseph.
Well, thank you very much to all of you for coming. And it is important. It is important that you are all here today and that you transmit this press conference to the nation and the world. Because as Counsel Mr. Hood quite properly and correctly just said, this here is not about anybody being hurt by anything I may have uttered. Because as Mr. Hood said, we've looked again and again at what the Prime Minister himself said out of his own mouth, what I said in terms of reporting what he said, and there really is no cause, no occasion for an apology or to meet any of the demands in the letter. And we are quite clear on that. And are prepared to respond and to meet with whatever action the Prime Minister and his lawyer figure they can take. The bigger issue is the strategy. Clearly a decision has been taken to silence opposing voices in this country. And that is what this is about. And we have to fight back at that effort with all our might. We must not be afraid to speak in opposing terms to the powers that be, because we are afraid they will try to stick us up. That's what's going on here. They try to stick us up for large sums of money because we raise our voices in opposition. We must not be afraid as journalists. We must not be afraid as patriots. Don't be afraid of them calling big money. As Mr. Hood said, the letter is quite unorthodox in that this is not how pre-action protocols in defamation matters are done. You don't call a big money unless you want to frighten somebody into silence. So that's bullying. That's bullying opponents into silence. And we have to ensure that it does not work. That the Prime Minister and his enablers and minions are not permitted to silence we the people of Grenada when we speak on matters of national interest. We have a situation in Grenada where every time this Prime Minister is in office, our country's reputation is sullied and tarnished and dragged through the mud because we insist on doing business with fraudsters, criminals, crooks, conmen. Look back from 1996 with Van Brink and Company, come all the way up. And there's a pattern of conduct. There's a clear pattern of conduct. Here we have a project under our CBI program, under whose responsibility the Prime Minister's Ministry falls. The Prime Minister's Ministry, Keith Claudius Mitchell, is the minister responsible for the CBI program. So any nonsense that happens under that program is his direct and personal responsibility. And he can't escape that. He can't escape that by trying to silence people or bully, wasting your time trying to bully people like me anyway. Right? Can't escape the fact that he is the responsible for the citizenship by investment program. And under that program, as far as we understand the facts, about 57 or 58 people paid good money to get Grenadian citizenship and residency, in other words, to get our passports, and to invest in a project at Victoria for an organic shrimp farm. Dr. Mitchell attended the launch and promised us that a project would be rolled out. That was over 2 years ago. Nothing has happened, just like the chicken farm in 2003, where $8.9 million US belonging to Grenadians was stolen for a chicken farm that was supposed to be on the same site, disappeared. And we had to pay it back because it was a loan gotten by the guaranteed by we the people of Grenada. Here again, $18 million, 18 million United States dollars missing under the watch of Keith Claudius Mitchell as minister responsible for the CBI program. And you know why this happened? Because the CBI law, as it was originally passed in the Parliament, was butchered under the leadership of Keith Mitchell. Butchered to accommodate crookedness. Which is why former Prime Minister Tillman Thomas referred to it as parliamentary theft or organized theft. Because you had a situation where, among other things, this original CBI law at Section 6 said that any money is being invested in any CBI project must be deposited with a local agent. So that way, the investors' money were under the control of your local agents right here in Grenada. You know what they did? They went and they amended the law. They amend the law to delete that Section 6 so that the people who paid good money for their investment in the shrimp farm has now found out that the monies were never even deposited in any account in Grenada. We never had control because our parliament remove the control that was there. And that was done under the watch of Dr. Mitchell. The control was removed so that my research suggests that the monies were deposited in accounts in countries other than Grenada. So we had no control over the people's money. But we invited them to come and invest in our country and to pay large sums into these projects. And some scam, some crook, it appears, has gone with everybody's money. You know what? These investors in that program can sue us. Instead of Dr. Mitchell looking to write me empty letters, he should get busy and carry on and conclude the investigation that he promised us since in March. He promised that an investigation would be launched. Dr. Mitchell, I'm asking you today, who are the investigators? This investigation you promised in March 2019, has it occurred? Who are the people you appointed to investigate the shrimp farm? What were their findings? Where is the monies? All the people who invested, that's what they want to know, or else we will start getting lawsuits. And we must speak. We have no formal opposition in the parliament. All of us have a responsibility to stand up and speak and not be intimidated by Keith Mitchell demanding ridiculous amounts of monies. And we must be prepared to fight. Thank God we still have an independent judiciary. So we shouldn't be afraid to go to the courts and battle with Keith Mitchell, if that's what we have to do. So let's not get distracted and intimidated with all the demands for big monies and whatnot. When wrong is happening in our country, it is our responsibility to speak against it. And we have a situation where we have an out-of-control citizenship by investment program, and Dr. Mitchell is responsible for that program. He's failing. He has failed. And if we look carefully at the way Dr. Mitchell has operated as Prime Minister from 1995, he has been very, very costly to the economy and people of Grenada. From First Bank to Garden Group, you name it. Very costly. And our people will continue to be poor. Our people are going to continue to be poor and dependent as long as we sit by and allow this level of recklessness to carry on. I again repeat an offer I made a couple of days ago. As journalists and as members of the public generally, there are those of us in the legal profession who are willing to assist you in avoiding threats of lawsuits or lawsuits. If you want to report on something objectively, if you want to comment on something objectively, a matter of national interest, and you're not sure that you're going to defame anybody, I am offering for free to double check and verify what you say, so that we are not afraid. And I have other colleagues, Mr. Hood is right here, there are other members of the legal profession who would gladly do that, because we understand that we have right now an attack on free speech in this country. Muzzling the press, free speech, the courts have ruled a long time ago, the Privy Council ruled, the right to freedom of expression enshrined in our Constitution includes the right to a free press. So, and there is a concerted attack, a concerted effort to silence people who dare to speak. And we must not bow to that, we must not cower to that. And as Mr. Hood says, I have absolutely no intention of acceding to any of the demands in Mr. Stewart's letter. He received a response yesterday to that effect. So the ball is now in Dr. Mitchell's court to take whatever steps he thinks.
Just one thing before we take questions. Joseph has raised an issue regarding the CBI legislation. It would be very informative to know that at the heart of the CBI legislation were two persons. One is now the governor of the central bank, and the second person is myself. and we can give you, I can give you details of the changes that have been made from the initial recommendations by Mr. Antoine and myself up to this date, and specific recommendations that have been made to guard investors' money from the very scams that Ms. Joseph is now talking about. We made objective recommendations to protect the investment of people who would come to Grenada and invest in these programs. And it is quite obvious, and I'm not quoting a fact, based on what has been happening, it's quite obvious that our recommendations have not been taken. We anticipated that many years ago, and we made recommendations. And that's one of the reasons why we did say that monies should be deposited in local accounts under the guidance of officers of the CBI program to make sure that monies deposited did not disappear. Because there was a lawsuit in which a judge of the High Court in Grenada made a ruling regarding one of the CBI programs. In particular, the CBI program that is on Cajeton Boulevard, the Sabri program. It's a public document. You can look at it. Because certain developments were promised and never materialized. And the investor sued and went to court, and the court ruled that he should get back his $1 million and something. Yes? So we had a precedent, and on the back of that precedent, we had made certain recommendations to the government of Grenada. So some of these damages are unnecessary.
Pure recklessness, complete recklessness. And we cannot be silent. We can't be silent in the face of this level of governmental recklessness with always the same characters behind it. We can't be silent, we can't be intimidated, we can't be afraid. Let them threaten. We can't be. This is our country. This country doesn't belong to Keith Mitchell and company. This is our country. So we can't be afraid of Keith Mitchell, because it's not a badger. And if we all band together, he will cover, because that's what bullies do.
So maybe the nurses and doctors will want to sue him for his statements. I'm willing to do the class action lawsuit, you know. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with suing him. Because he has accused them of a crime. Of stealing by reason of employment.
You know, imagine a radio runs a program. You send them a pre-action protocol claiming that they defame you and not identifying
what words used.
The defamatory words. What madness is it? It is just bare intimidation. 150,000, 350,000. This is craziness.
Monopoly money?
Must be.
So the message we are sending to Grenadians is this: it is time for us to stand up.
Thank you.
And do what in good conscience we believe we should do. Do not fear the might of the government. If you want your statements to be edited and you get some protection in terms of what you put out in terms of the language, so you reduce the likelihood of a lawsuit and defamation, we can assist you. We can assist you. But if they want to sue, they'll still sue. If they say 1 and 1 is 2 and we turn around and say 1 and 1 is 2, they may still sue you and say they didn't say 1 and 1 is 2. That's a possibility. So that's all I want to say. So whoever you are outside there, we are not giving up.
No.
We are there to help you and try us and see.
And you know, Grenada, you can count on the National Democratic Congress to continue to advocate on your behalf. We are forever cognizant of the fact that 40%, that's a big percentage, 40% of you voted for the National Democratic Congress. in 2018. And also in 2013, 41 or 42% in 2013, right? So we are very cognizant of our responsibility as a political organization and an organization that must maintain its voice for the people. And as you know, we put the people of Grenada first in all things, and we shall not be cowed, not in the face of this level of corruption we see happening in our country. Yeah.
So any questions you may have?
Just one for me. So is it that you're saying the statement that you made in reference to the Prime Minister being an investor, what's your actual position on that? Is it that you're sticking with that statement or you're retracting it or what?
No, I'm not.
Let me answer it. Have you seen the recording of what the Prime Minister said?
Can you make it available, please?
Yes.
It's there, it's on YouTube.
Yeah,
We saw a short clipping.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
But I understand there's an extended version of it.
Well, the point is that however you want to extend the version, as you say.
Because what I'm hearing is that I saw the short version, the 33 seconds I think it was, and they were saying that he went on to speak to him being an investor in the area. So not specifically to that project. So that's why I'm asking what's your position right now as it relates to that statement?
You see, as far as we are concerned, whatever interpretation Ms. Joseph would have put to the statement that the Prime Minister made is not outside of the bounds of the contents of the statement. Because the issue is not what you wanted people to hear, but what objectively a person can conclude from your statement. If you understand the point I'm making. I may open my mouth and speak, and I believe that I'm saying certain things, but you might hear what I'm saying and interpret it in a particular fashion. The court is not going to hold you liable if your interpretation is a reasonable interpretation of what was said. That's the point I'm making. So the Prime Minister may very well say, I didn't mean that. I meant I bought a house up in Victoria and I plant kitchen garden and I hire people up there. That's what he thought he would have said. The issue is what a reasonable, objective person may conclude by what he has said, the totality of what he has said. That's the issue.
No retraction.
But we did say to them that we don't really want to go to court, but if they wish to go to court, go to court.
Okay. What a morning this has been, my dear friends. But all good things must come to an end. And so this is where we're going to pull the curtain down on the December 22nd edition of Sundays with George Grant. Thank you so much. Not just for joining us, but for your contributions. I get the gut feeling that your eyes are being opened. Here's an invitation to join us tomorrow morning for the next edition of Good Day Grenada. We'll be here from 9 o'clock. And by the way, this week, there will not be an edition or a segment, Fiscal Alert, which we've been running for the last several weeks. Great program. But the Bain sisters are going to take some time off over the holiday season and will rejoin us early in the new year. Parting word from the Holy Scriptures, Matthew chapter 11, verses 29 and 30. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Hope that makes you feel good, pilgrims. Tumultuous environment we're living in these days. Anyhow, that's from Matthew, by the way, Matthew chapter 11, 29 and 30. Okay. On that note, Georgie Porgy's going to say goodbye. Season's greetings, and God bless you.